Welcome back to the 6th hour of Bathurst, sponsored by IGPManager.com, the final round of the 2014-2015 Masters of Endurance Championship. Currently leading is Coanda Simsport, followed by Glacier Racing, who have still yet to pit for their third pit stop. And third place, Inex Racing Red, who will be promoted to second shortly once Glacier make their pit stop. Inex Racing Red are on course to win the championship. If the results stay as they are, they will win the championship. But they had a, quite frankly, tumultuous, scary, terrifying first 3 hours with crashes happening in front of them and getting caught up in them. Hopefully for them, the second half of this race will be slightly less action-packed and they can bring it home. But who knows? PJ Sturgis now at the wheel of that car.
Yeah, it's a bit treacherous for them right now. They have a lot of front-end damage, which we'll show you shortly after we show you guys the results. Or, not the results, sorry, the current standings. But yeah, it's been uphill for them. They had a nice little battle with Coanda Simsport. They were kind of just riding nose to tail, both teams knowing where they're at currently. And William Levesque, who was driving the NX Racing Red car for the first 3 hours, did have an issue where he rubbed the wall a couple times. But it was nothing too major. And then suddenly, almost the end of his third stint, was when the R4R Motorsport car had an incident in front of them and ended up heavily damaging the NX Racing Red car. Fortunately for them, they haven't got a meatball flag or anything like that yet, and they've been able to continue racing.
And speaking of, here he is, William Levesque, after 3 hours behind the wheel, here to talk to us. Well, thank you for joining us. That was one heck of a first stint, wasn't it?
First stint or first drive in a row? Because the first stint was really good. Actually, it was pretty much perfect. It's after that it started going down a bit, which I think of no fault of my own. It's a bit unfortunate, but looks like many back markers don't want us to win the championship.
Yeah, it seemed so amazingly unlucky because like that, nothing quite that bad happened to anyone else up in the lead, up in the top 10 really, and you just got caught out 2 or 3 times by other people's accidents. I mean, there's a certain point where you just think, what can I do to stop this from happening?
Yeah, I probably had to avoid at least 5 or 6 potentially race-ending wrecks and moves. It's a bit crazy, really. I'm quite glad I'm out of the car right now, though I'll be back in for the last stint normally. Hopefully PJ can hold the car on track. It's still drivable, even though it's a bit wonky right now. The steering's 5 degrees to the right on the straights, and we're missing the front end, so it's down on top speed, but still possible to do okay lap times. Good enough to finish second still, I think.
The steering damage, was that you clipping the wall that caused that, or was that another incident?
It's basically the start of the downhill trend. When that car spun before the actual first elbow corner, and I had to avoid it, I basically had a tenth of a second to react, and I just about clipped the inside wall there. And that small contact messed the steering up. And after that, I had terminal understeer, and one of the left-handers had to start going up the mountain, and I just about clipped the wall on the right there as well, which probably made it a bit worse, but oh well.
I got a message from one of your teammates that a car flipped in front of you earlier on in the race. I believe it was about the second stint or so for you.
To be honest, I don't remember a car flipping, but certainly cars spinning and
Oh, as
Yeah.
we see right now. Oh, AB Racing.
Oh my
I believe it's
goodness.
AB Racing Silver. Currently sideways on the racetrack, and they have elected to go in straight to the pits. It's probably the best option right there. Just before Skyline being sideways, there's no reason to risk anything like that, especially with the leaders flying by.
Of course, it happened in front of NX Racing Red. Of course it did.
Of course, of course.
I heard that. Oh, and you see they blew their engine as well, so there was no way of getting back to the pits. Just want to note that NX Racing Blue. You can see that they've lost positions, but it's not because of anything to do on track. They actually sped in the pits. They don't know where, but they sped in the pits.
I think.
So entering the pits.
Exiting.
Oh, exiting the pits. Okay.
Yeah, they've sped exiting the pits.
So they've had to, I guess, do a going back into the pits and do a drive-through, or possibly a stop go. I'm not quite sure how it would work.
Yeah, I think it's a stop and go.
So they've dropped from third back to fifth. Core Motorsports now jumping into the third position, which is pretty good position for them considering they're third in the championship, and this current position will basically secure that.
Do you feel the pressure, knowing like this is the race that will decide the championship? Does that change the way you drive, or are you just thinking about driving and nothing else?
Well, don't. Of course, there's a lot of pressure, but it's mainly coming into the event. When you're in the car, you just do what you do best, and that's about it. I know I have to not do qualifying laps for stints and stints on end, but don't think too much about it. I don't think it's good to think too much about it because it makes you lose focus.
Yeah, that's the problem I have. I'm always thinking about stuff like that, which is why I don't do things like this.
I'd say a lot of us don't like to think in general. We just kind of like to do things. So
It seems like that on the track right now.
do you think it's more to do with the people racing, or simply the track itself being a little unforgiving?
It's not harsh, but I think it's people being bad, really. Because a lot of those moves are just stupid, and they're not needed. Some are genuine mistakes, but they're not mistakes that should happen if you practice a decent amount. Because I've seen people spin in some really strange places. So that's my opinion anyway. I'm pretty harsh on the slower guys anyway all the time, so maybe I'm biased.
Yeah, you elitist you.
And there's another spin in front of you guys. A car off at the.
Yeah,
That's Pizza Mafia. I think they spun on some cheese. They have actually been towed back to the pit lane. But actually, there's 3 cars in front of NX Racing Red now, side by side. It's the Trinity Motorsports cars, all 3 of them.
Oh,
making
no,
a
just more
Trinity.
Crowd, two Trinity and.
Oh yeah, they have
one of
racing
them
the liveries
race
at the rear. Yeah, you're
Wow.
right. 2 Trinity cars.
I just saw it on the podcast just then. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Would it stop? Like seriously, it's getting a bit annoying.
You still got 2.5 hours left.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, these 2 Trinity cars, they've been, I think one of them let the other past a lap ago or so. I think the one directly in front of the PJ Sturgis is actually having a few handling problems because he had to brake halfway through a corner. It's Anglo Peter at the wheel of the 24th position number 61 car. Oh boy.
But no, for sure the track doesn't help, because at Kota, for example, we had some terrible driving throughout the field, some stupid moves, but it's such a forgiving track that you can avoid most of that. And even the people making those mistakes, they can just run off in the runoff areas, and they're able to kind of save the cars without spinning. Here, it's not the case. So.
Yeah,
Drive
Coda we saw a couple moves at the end of the long back straight where people just I can understand, you want to get next to somebody, or you want to try to use some form of side draft, or whatever it may be, but when you go into the braking zone, you have to stay in your line in the braking zone, and some people were not doing that, and it was creating big accidents, mainly just 2-car accidents, nothing more than that. But it happened twice last race, and that was mainly most of the bad moves there. We also have the number 46 Infinity Esports car, which has been doing good all race, and apparently they just had a huge accident and they just sent in a protest.
Oh, that's not good.
Yes, their engine is definitely blown.
How long ago did that happen? I'll see if I can rewind to find out what happened to them.
Also, a cool little note here. RML Racing Team, they're currently in 7th. First car 1 lap down. Currently in 7th position. This is definitely going to be their best result of the season. Their first race actually was last race at COTA, and they said that they were extremely happy with the top 30. They said top 25. That was awesome because they started at the back of the field. But currently 7th position. That's a huge accomplishment for them.
Yeah, they are. I think they due a pit stop. Are they due a pit stop? Yeah, they due a pit stop, aren't they? They're 23 laps into their stint.
Ah.
They're slightly out of sync with everyone else. Because you often find them up behind leaders, but with much fresher tyres. But yeah, I'm not sure how they became so out of sync with everyone.
Yeah, because then they would have had to have done an extra pit stop. Huh.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point.
Maybe they can extend their stints and possibly even it out by the end of the race. I'm unsure though. However, do notice that the Mad Cow racing car was 7th before this. They're no longer 7th, they're now 13th.
Yeah.
So Daisy, Mad Cow Racing #1 car, possibly the reason Infinity Esports car is heavily damaged.
Forrest Elbow, apparently.
So that's not good there. We still have up at the front. It's quite interesting. PJ Sturgis, he's able to do good lap times, but it's Core Motorsports behind them, slowly gaining here and there. Last lap, NX Racing Red was faster. But I don't think this is too much of a worry because I know William's still in here for NX Racing Red. You guys have to just get a P17. Are you guys more worried? Like, you don't really care where you finish as long as it's in the top 17 positions.
Yeah, I mean, we'd like to do good because it's still a race, but if they catch up, we're not gonna make it too hard. But I think because PJ just got in the car and the car's damaged, so as this stint goes and is in his next stint just after that, he's gonna get more used to the car. So his pace should pick up a little bit and his consistency. So I think we can keep second until the end.
Yeah, PJ being a NASCAR driver, I'm pretty sure he's used to having damaged cars.
Or the steering pointing the wrong way.
Yeah.
I think they start the race like that. It's strange.
So, sometimes it's crazy. DWC Oval and stuff, it's normally, obviously it's the top drivers, NI Racing on the oval side, well, the NASCAR oval side, and, extremely good drivers and everything, but sometimes, the racing's so close, there's big accidents or a lot of accidents, and you'll see a lot of the field heavily damaged. So that's why I make that comment about PJ, who had terrible luck last season, used to driving a damaged car.
Well, William, thank you very much for joining us. It's great to get your insight. You probably had the most interesting first 3 hours of anyone on this track, so it's great to get your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks to you guys, and hopefully the rest of the race is a little bit tamer.
Yeah, indeed. Good luck, and we'll probably speak to you at the end.
Alright, see ya.
So that's William Levesque from NX Racing Red. Doing another stint at the end of this race.
Yeah, he said possibly doing one, so I guess Simon Cattell probably isn't going to be jumping in. He said PJ is going to be doing the next one after this. So that final stint would either be PJ doing 3 hours or William Levesque jumping back in for the final, however long it may be. I think it may be only 50 minutes or so.
Still, I'd retire from racing after after that. I'd be too stressed.
Yeah, we see NX Racing Red. We don't see Isaac Price and Jake Sturgis behind the wheel like we did in previous races. And it's not because they didn't want to race or anything. We saw Jake racing for NX Racing Blue, and Isaac is spotting for all 3 teams. But it's just they wanted to prepare for DWC, much like Team Redline. I know Martin Kronk currently isn't driving for Coanda, so possibly the same situation there. So a little bit different drivers here in different cars.
Yeah, indeed. Just to note that there are 6 cars on the lead lap. Everyone else has been lapped at least once. 18th position is 2 laps down. So the cars on the lead lap are Coanda Sim Sport, NX Racing Red, Core Motorsports, Glacier Racing, NX Racing Blue, and Vortex Sim Racing, with Trinity Motorsports 3, the first car, 1 lap down. And the closest battle on track is actually with Trinity Motorsports 3. 2 seconds behind them is RML, although we expect RML to pit very shortly.
Yeah, they're actually in the pits right now, I believe.
Ah, there you go. RML stands for R Factor Motorsport Liga, for those wondering. Not in R
actually,
Factor.
I think I saw one of their hosteds up recently. It was actually on this configuration. It wasn't the same weather though, so wondering maybe they have their own league of their own. Not quite sure. Oh, they actually have a race tomorrow on simrace.tv, which is where you guys are currently watching from. Another car in the pits currently for a pit stop is Pure Racing Team 3, BMW. Sven Kresmer currently behind the wheel, or at least has just taken over as they sit in the pits. We also have the Mad Cow Racing number 1 car chasing down KRT Motorsports 2, which you see just in front of them. Behind them you see NX Racing Blue, currently 1 lap ahead.
Yeah, this is now the closest battle on circuit, you are correct. Scott Gray up against Carl Modig. Ooh, and Carl Modig spins in front of NX Racing Blue, and NX Racing Blue gets by, and everyone gets by, or no other cars were nearby, thank goodness. And a little bit of rear damage
here
for Carl.
Get up to speed before, and he should be fine.
The next car up the road was Flux Racing, actually still quite a long way away. You can now see him.
Just gonna watch a quick replay of that because that could have been big.
Not what you'd expect.
You see, I was gonna say a little grass on entry. That was the corner before. I don't know. It looks like he just lost it. I don't know if maybe the curb helped him.
Just managed to avoid. He kept the wheels pointing in the right direction, so he was spun off into the inside of the track instead of to the outside. So, I mean, while crashing is never good, he crashed in the right way.
Possibly an experienced crasher. A lot of people are like that. I'm one of them. It's something like when you're crashing, your car's spinning, something, you kind of just know how to keep the car off the wall or something like that. A lot of people, for some reason, are just good at that. And maybe I've just been crashed a lot and I'm used to it. Something definitely is needed for, if anyone does the iRacing Daytona 500. At some point in time, you may be spun to the inside or something like that down the back straightaway. You'll have to do some crazy maneuvering to not hit the inside wall.
Yep, it's something you can't really practice. Like you could deliberately.
Whoa! Sorry about that. You could see the number 97 car wiggling back and forth as he goes over the first curb on the outside.
Got away with it. So that was the closest battle, but that has now been resolved. Mad Cow Racing Daisy's car now in 11th position.
Yeah, we have another one slowly closing up. It's between NX Racing Blue and the Glacier Racing car. However, last lap, NX Racing Blue just had a scare with the KRT Motorsports car spinning, so they dropped back last lap. But they were gaining ever so slightly on them. I have to give a shout out to Cohen and SimSport because they're currently second in the championship, and they knew what they needed to do in order to win the championship was win the race. Of course, they need bad luck by NX Racing Red in order to win the championship, but currently they are leading, and they have a very, very healthy lead over everyone behind them. And I think that just goes to show, like, they knew what they needed to do, and so far they've went out here and accomplished exactly that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then will be the first team to win 2 races this season.
Yes, every race this season we've had a different winner, which was definitely something cool. I think the best one having a new winner was last round with Virgil Racing, because at Road America they should have been up there at least in the top 3 positions or so in order to battle for potentially a race victory, but they had an issue with the rear tires wearing out, and they lost it at Road America. I believe it was in the kink is where they lost it, so heavy damage ended their race. But they went back, and at Coda, it was just cool to see the strategy that they had, something that we kind of talked about all season, but nobody really tried it. And I guess maybe Coda was the best time to try it with the shorter stints and the extra pit stop. Coda also having a shorter pit road than almost every other track we've went to. So I think it was cool to see them win, and also in a completely alternate strategy like that. I thought was also pretty cool.
Yeah, rewards something a bit daring, which is nice.
Exactly.
So penalty handed to, I believe, Mad Cow Racing 1. Just looking to see what the reason for that one was.
Yes, I believe that has to do with the number 46. The Infinity Esports car. I believe that they had contact with the Infinity Esports car, which potentially gave them enough damage to hurt their chances of any good finishing position in this race.
Right, okay.
So we see NX Racing Blue now behind them. Interesting to know that they did not pit that time around. They could have. Not quite sure why they did not. Simon Hill for Infinity Esports still sitting in the pits after that damage. I think you can actually see the right front tire completely visible.
Yeah, that's not looking good. They had an unfortunate race so far, because they also had the disconnect a couple of hours ago.
Exactly.
And they have recovered somewhat from it, but that's pretty much put pay to their chances. 20 minutes in the pits. And now we're joined by Glacier Racing's Alexei Aloma, who often visits the commentary box. Welcome, Alexei. And, you guys are up in 4th at the moment, and you had a very interesting... The first thing I want to talk about is your first pit stop was very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think we didn't take any tires. So, yeah, Falcon was quite slow on his first stint because of that. But
yeah, is that why?
Hard. Yeah, I don't know why didn't we have tire change, but it was not our intention.
What was the tire life after Hagner pit? Were you really low on tread wear, or was it okay?
I think the game shows the tire were like one stop after you change them for some reason. At least when you swap drivers, so it was like 50. Actually, how can I see it right now? It's 51 on the right front and 61 on the right rear.
Was it much worse than when it, at the end of a normal stint, or was it just relatively the same?
So I don't know because I wasn't driving, so I was actually having a nap, and then like 5 laps before the Hagner's stint ended, he shot at me on the TeamSpeak, and he was supposed to run like 2 stints in the beginning, but he wanted to swap because he was so slow.
So would you say this is your Glacier's best race of the season so far?
Yeah, so far it has been good. Because the track is, of course, if you can keep it on the track, it's much easier to take a good position compared to like Kota or any other track, pretty much. So yeah, it's been good.
Do you think that? Well, I don't see it as an advantage in a race like this, but in the future, possibly not taking tires, because I mean, you guys took tires, but you didn't really lose that much time. You're still in the 4th position, so is that possibly something you guys could do in other race series or other races in the future?
Well, I don't think we should do it if we do like 2 full stints, but yeah, maybe if you do like, I don't know, 15 laps here, maybe you can go without tires. But in actually we have a local national series where we have like 1 hour races, and the fuel tank has been limited to an hour. So some guys actually take tires, like, and then they actually are much faster than the like guys with no tires. So it depends pretty much on the driver and the car. But yeah, I don't know.
Another question would be, how much rear wing are you guys running? Because I noticed you guys are just powering by everybody on the straights.
Yeah, actually this time we are not running the maximum wing like we used to run. Now we have like 7, I think. So
Okay, that's still quite high, yeah.
yes, it's still drivable at least.
Just got a battle here between Carl Modig and Fernando Garcia Perez. That's a pass for 12th position. That's Ham Endurance taking 12th. Ooh, but it's a bit close, and KRT, Carl Modig is coming back up the inside, but backed out of it at the end. That's probably sensible, really. Trying to pass there is difficult.
Yes, we already saw what could go wrong. We're trying to overtake there at the beginning of the race.
So for the first time this season, you guys have other Ford GT rivals, and also you also have your second team as well in a Ford GT as well. So it's nice you have some company joining you in those Fords.
Yeah, I think the track is pretty good for the Ford because you have on the uphill you have the fast corners, and the car is pretty good on the fast corners. But yeah, I guess some other guys want to try it too. I wanted to try it, and of course our second team was just like we want to have like 2 drivers on 1 car because well it's much easier to do, and the 6-hour race is quite short in the end. So with 2 drivers you get 3 hours, and it's pretty good amount of driving.
So you're looking at, do you reckon you can get a top 3, or is 4th your target?
Well, I kind of hope that the Inex racing car, the blue, I actually asked during my first stint that who is driving and how can I say it, Sturgis and Friscops and of course Kelling. And I was thinking PJ, but then it was Jake who is a bit faster, so it makes it a little harder.
Oh, you just made the brothers upset, or actually make Jake really happy. PJ probably upset. Good thing PJ's driving right now. He can't hear you.
Yeah.
Even though
Hopefully-
Jake's probably ran into his room laughing at him right now.
Yeah, hopefully he won't listen to the stream afterwards.
Are you still by any chance racing sprint car? I know PJ still races
Yeah.
it quite a bit.
Actually, I didn't race this week, but I think I raced last week. Oh no! Or did I? I don't remember if I raced this week, but at least I raced like last week or this week, and I've been running those a little bit. At
How's
3
the car
a.m.
feel on new tire model?
Well, it's quite easy on the corners, but hard to drive on the straights if you go to full throttle.
It's so weird how that it doesn't even make sense, but easy to drive in the corners, hard to drive on the straights.
Yeah.
I guess that needs some work.
Yeah, it's still not like old timer. Though it was actually with the old timer, it was quite hard on the straights too. But yeah, it's right now you can't really have any proper wheel spin.
I'm sure that makes things actually really tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys up in fourth. So I wish you luck for the remainder of the race, and yeah, thank you, Alexi Lenema, for joining us in the commentary box.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for the series and streams and everything. Thank you.
Thanks for attending. Good luck.
I was just reading the iRacing forum. The Daytona 500 event has been, the rest of it's been cancelled after the server problems or the website problems.
Wait, all of the Daytona 500s or just...
Cancelling the remainder of the Daytona 500 sessions.
Wow. And
And-
zeroing the points out. Wow. Heck, we could talk for the next 2 hours about iRacing news on that one. Wow, that's
Oh boy.
that's a big change.
Just what, like, cancelling all of them? Like, couldn't you do like a few? I don't know how this thing works.
Well, there's a selected. I think there's going to be 3 times. There were supposed to be 3 time slots left, maybe 4, for the rest of the weekend. And I guess I don't know. I guess they just decided that it's best to not, risk crashing the website again this weekend when another race goes live. Because every single time, if it's going to crash once, then everyone's like, oh, I didn't get to race, I want to sign up for the next one, and it's just going to continue to crash.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Extremely unfortunate. I actually wanted to probably just jump in and do one tomorrow, just for the fun of it. Just try to survive and see where you can finish. It's quite funny, actually. The NASCAR races, you can't do this on the roadside and like DWC and stuff like that. But on the oval side, since Alexi brought up Jake and PJ Sturgis, Jake, for example, Sturgis, he just kind of rode around in DWC Oval last season, and he finished. I think he finished like 5th in the championship, just riding around doing nothing until the very end of the race when everyone's already crashed out and whatnot, and just passed him. So it's really weird how some of that stuff works. So I just wanted to go and ride around in the Daytona 500 and wait for everyone to crash, so then at the end of the race I'll have a clean car.
Power through to win.
Oh, I don't know about winning, but it'd be cool.
We're just coming up to 4 hours, well, in about 15 minutes. And so we just give you a quick rundown. Top 6 still on the lead lap. Commander Simsport lead, 48 seconds now. What a lead that is. That is, after only 4 hours, that's a pretty terrific lead.
That's
Core
actually the
Motorsports-
biggest lead of the season,
Yes.
outside of Spa.
Yeah, exactly. In a 6-hour race, that is crazy good. NX Racing Red still second Core Motorsports in third. Very slow lap on the last lap for Core Motorsports, 2:07. Glacier Racing fourth, Inex Racing Blue in fifth, and Vortex in sixth. Those are the lead lap drivers. I'm scrolling down the the tracker, and there are no yellow highlighted battles right now.
Yeah, there's well, obviously with a lot of cars being heavily damaged, you know, we have less cars going around, and because of that, we're going to have less battles. Wouldn't necessarily say it gets the race a little boring. I mean, a lot of people always want to battle, and they still do. NX Racing Blue is still trying to chase down Glacier for the fourth position.
Oh yeah, there's still plenty
Currently.
that's going to happen for sure.
Yeah, it's currently only 3.4 seconds between them. We have other battles like Pure Racing Team 3 trying to chase down Rincon Racing. They are only 3.2 seconds behind that, so they're right on the verge of having that little yellow highlight and the live timing.
Yeah, that should be happening fairly soon. But yeah, a lot of cars, a lot of laps down at this point. I can't work out where the classified and non-classified begin.
24th on back have had damage, significant damage this race.
That is...
yeah, it's a big number.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cars. It's just simply because, I mean, even this, we're looking at Pure Racing Team 3 now, and you see a lot of damage on their left front. We haven't seen anything like that all season from a car that's currently in the 16th position.
We've got another code for you for IGP Manager. The sponsors of this event, the Masters of Endurance 6 Hours of Bathurst. Up on the screen shortly will be a code that will unlock 1 year's worth of the 2D pack at igpmanager.com. Head to igpmanager.com/special to enter the code. It's for new and existing members. The first one to enter that code will get that 1 year of 2D pack. So we'll keep that on the screen for a few more seconds so you actually have a chance to see it and to make a note. And yeah, thank you to igpmanager.com for their support of this event.
Just saw the New World SimSport car letting around the New World SimSport car. New World SimSport Scarlet was the red McLaren that we saw. They are back in the 26th position. I believe they have damage from early on in the race. We see here the New World SimSport car in the 9th position. Speaking of that battle earlier, possibly brewing up. I'm going to go on board here. This should happen rather quickly. Pure Racing Team 3, Sven Kresmer behind the wheel, chasing down the Rincon Racing. As we see Pure Racing Team 3, huge run. Rincon Racing. Rincon have a little bit of front end damage there, so that's probably killing their straight line speed right now. Also want to point out that not only is Glacier Racing being caught up a little bit by NX Racing Blue, but also they're catching Core Motorsports ever so slightly. They were as far back as 14 seconds. And for the first time this season, you see two Ford GTs in the same shot. I believe it's the first time this season. Was not a battle for position by any means. All-Star Racing Team quite a few laps down after some major damage early on in this race. Yanni Hagner for Glacier Racing actually putting down some pretty good lap times, and because of that actually sort of extending the gap to NX Racing Blue. Maybe that or just keeping it steady at around 3.5 to 4 seconds. You can actually see NX Racing Blue in the background very quickly. See, actually, the last laps for both Core Motorsports and Glacier Racing only 6/1000ths apart. And so, you know, if the amount of catching that Glacier Racing has become a little stagnant, or just that one lap alone was relatively close. And the reason you only hear me talking right now is because Michael Passingham.
Pure Racing, sorry, I'm here. Pure Racing just crashed at the final corner. I don't know how they managed it, but they had a big spin, and I don't know if their brakes failed or something. They lost it and crashed at the final corner. You might want to get a replay of that because it was pretty big. Oh yeah, I was busy ordering. I was ordering my pizza, as you were about to say.
I was just trying to mention that.
Yeah, but I had it open in another window, and I just saw it in the background.
Currently got a replay up now.
All right. Oh, that's quite a long way back. Yeah, he cracked. Yeah, it was last corner. It was Sven Kresmer, was P15. Or is now P15?
He's still P15, yeah. He only lost one position from the incident.
So into heading towards Murray's.
See if he's braking on the grass, maybe.
Yes, you got it. Oh.
I don't know if that tire wall was maybe a little bit softer than the actual concrete wall.
Yep.
I believe he's still going to have a lot of damage from that.
He could have pitted if he'd wanted, because the pit lane barrier starts just after where he crashed, so he could have gone in if he'd wanted. Or do you think
he might have got a penalty for like unsafe pit entry. I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on that. I haven't tried to pit like that before. Car looks to be okay though. Nothing major wrong with it.
Joining us in the commentary box now from the other Pure Racing team car from Team 1 is Noel Lundberg. How are you doing?
Hello. Yeah, not great. We have had some troubles. It started out with a crash on top of the mountain when I was driving. Managed to drive it into the pits and had about 20 minutes of repairs. Then I was able to continue. The car drove fine, but we had a lack of top speed. So I was 6 seconds of a lap slower, which was not ideal, as you can imagine. And then all of a sudden, when I was going down the mountain, my engine exploded out of nowhere.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we have just done another 30 minutes pit repair.
This is by far, you guys have had a pretty strong season up until this point, and 7th in the championship before this race. This is by far the worst race of the season for you.
Yeah,
And,
it was.
But I mean, it's fair play for you're still going. You are going to finish this one, which is, I guess, shows that you at least want to finish all 5 races of the season.
Yeah, we're certainly going to try.
And I noticed you guys, I mean, you have Iberica Racing team just ahead of you guys in points. I believe, yeah, only 5 points ahead of you guys. So as long as you keep going where you are right now, you'll be able to overtake them for the 6th spot and the championship points. I believe teams behind you, only one you'd have to worry about is NX Racing Blue, possibly overtaking you in points, but I'm not quite sure if they'll be able to accomplish that or not, with them currently being in the 5th position.
Okay. Well, we're all the way down in 35th, I believe, or something now.
Actually, I don't know off the top of my head how many points that is.
What do you make of this track? Do you, aside from when your car is crashing and blowing up, do you enjoy driving this circuit?
Yeah, definitely. The challenge is what makes it fun, in my opinion.
Ooh, the Pure Racing Team 3 just alongside with the... in fact, Scott Gray just passed Pure Racing Team 3 there, around the outside of Chase. That was for 15th. Is it, I guess it's a challenging track when you're being lapped, because I guess you have a slower car now, so I'm guessing being lapped is quite difficult.
Yeah, you don't want to be finding yourself on the mountain with some of the leaders behind you and a very slow car. At least I was able to control my car because we fixed the steering damage. But still, being very slow is not safe. You really need effort from both cars to make a clean pass. Or they'll just have to be patient. That also happens.
Before this season, were you guys experienced in other endurance racing championships?
Well, what I do now is Pure Racing Team is active in quite a lot of endurance series. I only joined them for Masters of Endurance.
Oh, okay.
So I can't really comment on the details of what other stuff that they're doing. What I can say is we normally had 3 cars, 2 McLarens and 1 BMW. However, we now only have 1 McLaren in this race, because while this race is going on, there's another race at Sebring. I think it's the DSTM or something, a German league. 6 hours at Sebring. So one of our cars is competing in that one.
Okay. So you joined these guys just to do the championship. So I guess are you passionate about endurance races then?
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of experience with them yet, but I discovered MOE on forums. I thought that looks interesting, so I made a post on the forum explaining who I am, what I've done, and then Pure Racing Team approached me if I wanted to join them as a driver, and that's been great.
That's pretty cool to hear. Oh, we see, I hate to interrupt you, the New World SimSport car. We were just looking at them probably 10 minutes ago. They were in 9th position, and for New World SimSport, Antigala now in the pits with a heavily damaged car. So that's not good news for them.
I wonder what happened there. I'll see if I can rewind time and find out.
So much that can happen at Bathurst that ends up in the pit lane.
Yeah, aside from the crash you had, did you have to avoid any other accidents, people spinning in front of you, or you
Yes.
fairly lucky? Oh, right, of course.
Couple.
Whoa, just another one here. Just switched to CTC Racing 1, and literally the second I switched to them, they blew their engine.
Oh, wow. Oh, there they are, yeah. The CTC Racing have been drive like whenever they're getting passed by a lap by people, they slow right down to a stop. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. Like maybe they change down gear too quickly. I don't know.
It was just exiting the corner. They were actually trying to chase down the car ahead of them. I don't know if they previously had damage, possibly the oil temps from front damage. I'm not quite sure.
That's likely.
Yeah,
I think that's what happened to us as well.
I think so. I think when you damage the front of the car, it hurts, like air ducts and stuff like that, to get air to the engine. So that could lead to your engine exploding, essentially. Leaders now doing their pit stops. We see NX Racing Blue starting it out. Now Klaus Kivicus for Coanda, and then actually now Card just went a lap down. Vortex Sim Racing pit just behind Coanda, as Rens Broekman now gets back behind the wheel. I'm guessing he's going to finish out the rest of this race. I thought Jorn Jens might be the one to do that, but looks like Rens Broekman might do that final 2 hours of the race.
What I've heard from Rens is that he had to do an additional hour at the start of the race because his teammate couldn't connect because of the issues with iRacing.
Okay. Yeah, that would be it for sure.
Did that affect your team as well?
Yeah, I did. Right before I crashed, I was supposed to pit in a few laps. And my teammate Tom couldn't connect as well, so he already asked if I could do a third stint.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Doing 2 stints is fine. 3 is can get a bit tiring.
Yeah.
Just had an odd issue with Jake Sturgis. I don't know if he lost connection or maybe his game crashed. PJ's currently still driving, so I'm guessing that his game crashed. Probably has to do with overclocking or something like that, causing his game to crash. Core Motorsports now into the pits as well. It looks like they have a little bit of front end damage.
It's like they've run into like a kangaroo or something.
We don't have any kangaroo snipers out today, unfortunately. I don't know if you heard about that or not.
No, I didn't hear about that.
It's going around about kangaroo snipers. Bathurst 12 hour.
Sounds safe.
You could say it's necessary almost.
Well, so the rest of your race, you're just hoping to finish without any more problems, I guess. Then.
Yeah, we're up to speed again, sort of, because with a new engine, so we should be able to do laps and hopefully stay out of trouble. Our back end is still in the bad shape, but we're still gonna try to finish the race.
Great. Well, best of luck and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me.
Good luck.
So that was Noel Luneberg from Pure Racing Team 1, continuing on racing despite a plenty of action in the first 4 stints of their 6 hours of Bathurst.
Just saw RML Racing Team just fly by Marlboro Motorsport there. Not quite sure. It looks like Marlboro possibly way off pace here. Oh, coming into the pit stop. Maybe they were low on fuel, had to save a little bit.
Yes. Oh yeah. They were coasting down the Conrad Straight before they made that pit stop.
You see NX Racing Red just into the pits also.
So I didn't quite catch what happened with PJ Sturgis. Did his car stop on track, or I don't understand because he's still in second.
Oh yeah. Jake Sturgis. I'm guessing his computer crashed, which doesn't affect PJ. I mean,
oh, sorry.
Computers in the house. But they are in the same house on the same connections. Right. At first, I thought it would be a timeout, but it's not the case.
Okay.
It was just I'm guessing his game crashed, which does for some reason happen often. Not quite sure what he does in order to make that happen, but he finds a way to make his game crash often.
Okay, yeah, I misheard what you said because I was concentrating on something else. So PJ Sturgis unaffected by the problems. That's the last thing they would have needed anyway. So they're currently coming back out the pits now in 3rd position, but Glacier Racing should pit soon, or soonish. And
the amount they've been extending their stints, it might be another 10 minutes or so before they... Oh, is that a car backwards?
no, I think is the stream stopped? Sorry, not the stream. The yeah, it looks like.
Oh yes, here we go. Are they stuck in the...
What's that? Yeah. What on earth is going on there? Which car is that?
This is GT Ross Orange. They should just take a tow, and they're taking a tow now. That might have been single-handedly the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Okay, so what happened to them is, I don't know if you can wind back for a replay or if it's all a bit broken. Oh, you can. There you go. Well, they're going to hit Mad Cow Racing in a second, is what you're going to see, who are across the track. Just a few moments, right at the top of the mountain. They could have come down through the S's and then fly into the barrier.
Can hear the police after you.
Yes. I've been swatted. There you go. Boom.
Oh yeah,
that's that Mad Cow car.
Mad Cow was the car that I saw sitting sideways or sitting backwards on the track there. They tried to recover with terrible timing, and it looked like wow, the GT Orange car was stuck in the wall and then was driving over the wall to get unstuck. One of the craziest things I've seen, by far.
Yeah, it's the second car that's got stuck inside a barrier, or at least we've seen it. And it's both the roofs that's happened to.
Yes. Which
seems such a long time ago that that we had Cecilia stuck in the wall after leading and crashing out from the lead.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that we had 8 roofs starting the race, and that was the only other one in the top 30 outside from Core Motorsports in 4th. So yeah, the roof, very fast car, but it looks like it's pretty tough to keep in the race.
Yeah, RML have just had a spin through the dipper, going into the dipper in fact. They lost it by themselves, but they've recovered.
Looks like some left side damage.
Yeah, they clipped the wall with the rear of their car, which spun them out, which is a bit of a bizarre accident really, but it's still going. That's Philippe Null, who's driving that.
Yeah, I gotta show a quick replay of that. We were just talking about them previously. They were doing pretty good. See Glacier Racing just behind them, letting Glacier Racing by. Also Trinity. So nice of them to do that. Starting to... it looks like they already have damage, yeah, and then they lost it there. They already have left side damage. That's new. That happened earlier in the lap. My replay is actually behind the one that's currently on stream. Luckily enough that when they tried to recover as they were sideways across the track, no cars were coming. Oh, they got that damage previously from the exit of turn 2. Left side of their car completely destroyed.
Now they're pitted. I think I'm going for a driver's swap or just a very long repair.
It's going to be a long repair. I think they're going to have some suspension damage on the left side.
Yeah, in fact, yeah, Nicholas Maxshin's back in the car now.
Now, I'm interested to see how long Glacier can go on this fuel tank to see possibly their final pit stop will be shortened. Or if they're going to shorten both of these, I'm not sure. But their final pit stop will be shortened. See if they take tires or not. That'll be another interesting
Yeah, that was amazing. I can't believe that they were able to drive competitively without having taken tires.
Yeah.
That sounds insane.
I think at the beginning of the race, it's okay. There was so much traffic that even with tires, you weren't really gaining that much time. But now, I think with less cars on track, that it's important for them to take tires. So they might do 2 equal short stints at the end.
Right. And for RML, who obviously they're taking a lot of time for this repair, it's not... They were actually due a pit stop. Or they're kind of out of sync. Well, they were out of sync anyway. They were due a pit stop soon, so it's not completely terrible for them. although it's still pretty terrible because they have to maybe 8 minutes of repair or whatever.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for them. They were doing a great job. We just spoke about them, how they were doing a great job. So, but as we know from races this season, nothing's really over until the end of the race. I still think I don't know, did you do the 2012 24 hours Masters of Endurance?
I don't believe so, no. But until I did this series, I've not commentated on MOE for several years, at least maybe 4 years.
Okay, the 2012 one, Mary Schallenbeck flipping second to last corner. I think we were gathering people in for interviews and whatnot because it was the final lap, and the race was pretty much coming to an end, and it was a GT2 battle for fifth place at the end of the 24-hour race, and we had at least 8 people in the TeamSpeak channel, and only 2 were commentating at the time. And then all of a sudden, Mary Schallenbeck shoots on the inside, second to last corner as a hairpin. And when he hit the curb, he also kind of clipped the car on the outside of him, caused them to flip. And the entire TeamSpeak channel, commentary booth, as you'd like to call it, just exploded when that happened.
That sounds awesome. Do you know which race it was? I might have to look it up on YouTube.
Yes. 2012 Masters of Endurance 24-hour race, part 8 on YouTube. It should be the final lap. There's actually a really good battle there at the end between the 2 cars, and yeah, that happened. So basically, nothing's over until it's actually over when it comes to this series and endurance racing in general. Saw the Rincon racing car really catch the Mad Cow racing car really quickly here, and then once it got within a second, it kind of just died down. Not quite sure why. See Glacier Racing. Well, we don't see, but we know that they just entered the pits.
Mm-hmm.
So they should probably be doing a driver swap, maybe. Not quite sure. Doesn't look like it. Looks like Yanni Hagner will stay in the car, and then I guess maybe Alexei Alomo getting in for the final stint. Sounds probably right.
No, we should have taken a stopwatch to this pit stop to see what their strategy is going to be.
I have a
you've got a machine.
Yeah. I have about 11 windows open right now on my 2 screens, so one of them is pit stop times. Just past 31 seconds in their pit stop, so they should be going very shortly.
There
Tires
you go.
drop. There they go. 41.8 seconds. So yes, they're going to do 2 equal stints here at the end, by the looks of it. They did take tires. We saw the jack drop. So as you can see, they're ahead of Core Motorsports, and that's big for them. That puts them into the 3rd position. You see Core Motorsports just in the background there. Core will most likely catch them. They are the faster car on track. But then at the final pit stop here in the next 45 minutes to an hour will essentially allow them to do that same style of pit stop again, take less fuel, and hopefully extend what they're hoping to extend the gap to Core Motorsports.
This is a really, really good chance of a podium place for these guys.
Yeah, and what's also interesting is that, Core Motorsports and NX Racing Blue had the exact same pit stop length, 55.4 seconds. However, they're only 6.7 seconds apart. So definitely something's happened to Core Motorsports. You can see the front of their car, the hood of their car is definitely damaged. So you can see right where the number 3 is, there's a little bump in the hood. So they've definitely gotten into the back of someone. Not quite sure who it may be, but it's lost them a lot of time. They are gaining on the Glacier car so far, though they're only 3 seconds behind.
At least the front end damage won't affect, or shouldn't affect cooling too much, right? Because
No, yeah, cooling should be an issue since the engine's not in the front.
Yeah.
If something does happen, then we need to talk to iRacing. I'd be more concerned about if they do catch Glacier. You remember earlier in the race that there was a battle between those two cars, and the Core Motorsports car took over 30 minutes to actually complete a pass on Glacier Racing, simply because they did not have the straight line speed.
Yeah, and then they made a pass and then got passed immediately after. It was a good battle,
Exactly.
that. And I think we're going to see that rejoined again. So these guys have provided possibly the best entertainment of the race.
I think also, to go off of what Alexei Loma said, he was a little bit faster than Johnny Hagner, and possibly can use that to, like, for the final stint, if they're able to come out ahead of Core Motorsports. We already know, though, that Johnny Hagner does not give up a place easily. When that battle was going on between between Glacier Racing and Core Motorsports, it was Johnny Hagner behind the wheel. I believe it was Nils Koch behind the wheel.
Yes,
for
it was.
Core Motorsports. Little drama for Vortex Sim Racing earlier. The number 132 car got into the back of Vortex under braking. This is after they let Vortex by, so trying to be kind and letting somebody by, and then there's a little contact afterwards. It was just a simple drive-through for them. They've already served it.
Just watch that video. That's one way to end a race. One of these guys needs to do the same thing. And I see 2012 MOE. I should have been there for that.
Yeah, it was a good race.
Yeah, if you follow Masters of Endu on Twitter, we're going to be posting a link to the video and the time code of when the incident happened.
Yeah, that race was the first time I did a broadcast for 24 hours straight. It was definitely a new experience.
Yeah, you'd think you would have learned and not done it again.
Yeah, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I guess.
Just want to jump up to the man on top right now, Renz Broekman. As he comes around the final corners, we're going to ride a lap on board with him just to give you guys a little break from our voices and to let you enjoy the current leader, Koina Simsport. So that was an onboard lap with the current leader. Kind of since acquiring the lead, almost 3 hours ago now. If not, yeah, about 3 hours ago. They've just pretty much extended it. Before we could see NX Racing Red in the background, now we no longer can. Almost have a minute advantage. So now Core Motorsports slowly starting to gain on Glacier Racing. That roof, even though it does have quite a bit of front end damage, as we can see there, not affecting it in the mountain section, still mighty fast. If anything, the loss of front downforce just adds some stability. Makes the car a little bit more understeery, even though it is a little bit slower. Straight line speed is where it's going to hurt the most for Core Motorsports. Going to be able to catch Glacier Racing, but how they're going to get by isn't something they want to think about right now, because it's going to be pretty painful.
Yeah, they had a lot of trouble before the damage, so how are they going to do it now? I've got no idea.
Yeah, I think before, only thing they had was a little bit of fender damage, and that was it. Now, with the hood of the car kind of caved up a little bit. Oh, I don't know why I said caved up, that doesn't make any sense. But sticking up a little bit, I think that's going to be causing some issues. I think as long as they are able to get a good run out of the corner and just stay right on the bumper of a Glacier Racing car, they'll stand a chance. But other than that, I'm not quite sure. See, they gained about almost 0.2 of a second through the chase there.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be giving us something to look at. This is going to be the closest battle on track.
For the final spot on the podium.
So we're 3/4 of the way through this race. Almost doubted myself there for a second. No, that is correct.
Yes, 3/4 of the way through. 93 minutes, 93.5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, that always makes me look stupid, because the time on the actual race time is different to the time that I can see in iRacing. And to let you on a bit of a secret, I can't see what you, viewer, can see. The lovely graphics, I don't benefit from those. So I sound like a fool. Although I sound like a fool anyway, it just adds to it.
I think the best part is IRTVO, for some reason, on the server computer, shows all the team names and everything properly. On my computer, I do not see the team names. I see the drivers, I see the car numbers and everything. Oh, as we see Core possibly getting into the wall there.
Yeah, I just got away with it, I think.
But I don't have the team names, so I know them by their paint scheme and their car number, essentially.
Yeah, that takes a lot of skill. So let's go, let's do a top 10 rundown. We got Commander SimSport leading 57 seconds for Renz Brookman, ahead of InX Racing Red, Glacier Racing in third, who are 26 seconds behind InX Racing Red. Core Motorsports, you can see them on screen now, on board with them, under a second behind Glacier Racing. Inex Racing Blue in 5th, 7 seconds further down the road. Vortex Sim Racing a further 41 seconds down the road. Trinity Motorsports 3, 16 seconds behind them. Marlboro Motorsports a minute and a half back. Flux Racing Team a further 15 seconds back. And Team Chimera in 10th, 29 seconds ahead of the car ahead. So the top 5 on track are on the lead lap. Everyone else is 1 or 2 laps down.
Yeah, you can see on the positions list at the bottom of the screen, a lot of those cars multiple laps down. It's due to mainly them getting into the wall and having major suspension damage, even ending the race through, engine damage and whatnot. This really has been a race of attrition mainly. I guess the Masters of Endurance name, I guess that kind of does make sense for this race.
Yeah, I mean, the guys at the top, you'd expect to see that, but then there are some surprising ones who are also out of the race as well, such as Virgil and
Radicals Online.
Radicals Online as well,
yeah.
And Iberica, those
Iberica
guys,
as well.
And Chimera.
Yes, Team Chimera, actually, that was a big surprise to me because they had been so consistent all season on finishing.
Yeah. Yeah, they had about the biggest accident of the race so far, I would say.
Alexander Voss now really starting to set in.
Yeah, he's done the easy bit. Now it's time for the real challenge.
Yeah, as they always say, it's easier to catch somebody, it's harder to pass them. Especially a Ford GT, quick straight line speed, when currently this core motorsports car is struggling. You can see right now in the draft, it's not gaining any time. So that's going to be a huge problem. The second one being Yanni Hagner. Great driver when it comes to any form of defense. And the fact of, even if they do get by, Glacier Racing is going to be taking a lower amount of fuel on the final pit stop.
Yeah, so this may not be the last time Alexander Voss or Core Racing at least has to pass Glacier.
I think if Glacier can hold on, I hate to say this, hold on for another 30 minutes until the next round of pit stops, I think they'd be set, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. And it's not as if these two cars, this battle that's going on right now, is hurting them in speed. You can see the last lap times, 3.0s. They're the 4th and 5th fastest cars on track. I say this now as NX Racing Blue. Dave Haling just went faster than them by 1/10 of a second. I was going to say that they were pulling away from them. They have been, actually. Currently 7 seconds back to Dave.
Yeah. I wonder if Haling can actually catch these two if they start holding each other up. But the problem is, like you say, they might not hold each other up because they're actually both so quick anyway. They might just continue at pace until they actually start getting alongside each other and getting each other's way. But I can't see that happening for a while because the two cars they're almost incompatible. They can't go alongside each other because of the speed difference.
Yeah, we could just see right there, going down the mountain, how much time Core Motorsports gained. And then we're going to see here, the Glacier Racing car is just going to walk away. There's just no comparison right now, top speed-wise. And the draft, and the roof is no slouch in a straight line, and it's just losing time. A lot less than what it did the previous lap. Under braking, it can stay pretty consistent.
If I was Alexander Voss right now, I don't know. I'd just drive like a maniac and force Hagner into a mistake. Because that's the only way. Even passing him is not going to be enough. Passing him is not a cure for this problem.
Yeah, I don't know really what they can accomplish right now on how even to get by them. That Ford is wide, it's fast, and it's just tough. And just to think, what if somehow Glacier were able to acquire the lead at some point during this race, and actually like legitimately be in the lead? How is anybody even going to pass them?
Yeah, indeed. So we just had an update on the amount of cars actually running in the race. 30 is the number of cars apparently still circulating. I mean, we've lost 23 from the original start.
Yeah, quite a lot of attrition.
Yeah, indeed.
More than the 24 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say more than the 24 hours.
You can see right here, watch Core Motorsports. We're looking back from the Glacier Racing car. Core now right on their rear bumper. They gained so much just after Skyline, all the way down this mountain. See once more right here in the braking zone. A lot to be gained, but nothing to really take advantage of. Also, a Twitter update from Phoenix Motorsports.
They're in 15th at the moment.
Yeah, 15th at the moment after starting, what was it, 43rd?
That's pretty good progress. 3 laps down, but yeah, up in 15th after starting. And that just shows that they've managed to keep it pretty clean. Because I've barely seen this. I don't even remember seeing Phoenix at any point during this race, which is good for them because they didn't do anything crazy.
Actually, looking at their car right now. Whoa, as we see Matt Call
wow,
crash in the background.
Oh, he's pitted it.
Yeah, I can actually jump back to that really fast. I was going to say Phoenix Motorsports, I saw no damage on their car whatsoever.
The one time we were going to look at Phoenix Motorsports and then someone else does something to upstage. So is that Micah? Ooh.
Yeah. Ouch. Really hurt. Well, the car was already heavily damaged. Right side of the car didn't get any benefit there.
Add that to the list of cars sitting in the pit lane with massive amounts of damage.
Yes. But back to Phoenix Motorsports. We can see their car right now. 0 damage that I can tell on any corner of that car. Done a brilliant job. Less than 90 minutes left in this race. Also, we have another battle ahead of him. Ham Endurance Team 2 versus Rincon Racing.
Just to note, Phoenix Motorsports are actually 15th in the championship as well. Oh, and yes, like you say, there's a battle.
Just want to place note that Rincon Racing, we gave them a hard time at Spa. They had a incident when rejoining the racetrack and almost ended the Coanda Sim Sports race in 24 hours of Spa, but they've been doing really good this race. You can see their car's a little damaged, but I think that's just them running in, bouncing off the walls themselves. Haven't really affected anybody else. Done a pretty good job this round.
Yeah, they were penalised heavily for that crash, weren't they?
Yes, they were. Yeah, we haven't been light on penalties this season. We want to make sure that teams know, what's okay and what's not. Unsafe rejoins and overly aggressive moves. Those types of things just aren't really tolerated.
Yeah, you'd think the danger of having a massively damaged car would be punishment enough, but the added administration and paperwork with a penalty obviously should put them off a bit more.
Hope so, at least. As well, we saw with that pass actually, Rincon Racing, they had a little straight line speed disadvantage, and they were passed easily. Now in this scenario, the Core Motorsports car has probably every advantage through all the corners and especially down the mountain. Yet in the straight line, they have a massive disadvantage, and here at Bathurst, that just means that there's no way that they can overtake. There's literally nothing they can do right now. As Michael Booth pointed out, it's like Godzilla and the Bathurst 12-hour race, which is extremely true. So if we just imagine Glacier Racing currently driving a Nissan GTR, and them also being Gran Turismo drivers, we will basically see Godzilla.
No, they're better than Gran Turismo drivers. There are racing drivers.
Hey, Yanni Hagner came from Live for Speed, so. Just was watching on TV here. If you think the iRacing Daytona 500 went bad, I was watching qualifying for the Xfinity Series in NASCAR, which is essentially the second tier. There was a huge crash in group qualifying. I believe the race is supposed to start any time now. There's a huge crash in group qualifying just at the finish line. One of the cars went airborne a little bit.
Oh dear.
Yeah. It looks like everyone was okay though. Unfortunately, you crash in group qualifying the same day as the race. How are you going to get a new car out to race? Better hope you have a backup ready to go.
Yeah, had some quick pit work.
I guess
So
it's
the real
like,
life is the real life race tomorrow.
Yes, real life Daytona 500 is tomorrow,
Hmm.
somewhere around.
Ooh, big mistake, or small mistake that actually looked quite big.
Yeah. For the roof, I know everybody says the general phrase for the roof is OP, which basically just it is really quick. It is probably the quickest car currently in the GT3 class. However, and we've seen every race this season that it is probably the most sensitive over the course of a race. Just very, very small moves, like one wrong move can completely end your race. And a BMW, it doesn't seem that bad. Even in the Ford, maybe Glacier Racing have just been phenomenal in it. But even in the Ford, it seems okay. The McLaren, on the other hand, also a little sensitive. We've seen like Pure Racing team and also Team Camara doing a really good job. Vortex Sim Racing as well. And then Team Redline, they had some issues like in the Spa 24-hour race. They had a couple wrecks as well.
Yeah, they spun at Blanchimont, if I recall correctly,
Yes. Oh,
which was not ideal.
also have Ham Endurance team going up against Mad Cow Racing. So Ham Endurance team 2 making moves right now. I'm surprised they didn't use the 78 McLaren. I guess because they wanted to race a BMW. On a track like this, I wouldn't really blame them. Ham Endurance team now jumping into the 11th position.
Yeah, that's Fernando Garcia Perez passing James Stevenson.
I believe Fernando started the race. He did pretty good at the start.
Yeah, Ham Endurance, another team that has actually stayed out of trouble for this race. You've seen them in battles, but they've kept it clean. And yes, I do live in a crime den.
We decided to throw it on Twitter about, with 90 minutes remaining, the lead battle is okay, but the battle for third between Glacier Racing and Core Motorsport. And Core Motorsport reply with Ford Rocket.
Ford Rocket, yeah, that's about right.
So a little bit of light joking in between those two. And much respect, actually, from all these top teams. They all know who they are, essentially. They race with each other in other leagues and whatnot, and also in the official GT3 series. So, all the drivers have good respect for each other, which is always cool to see.
I finally got my racing wheel back. I've not been able to do sim racing for about 6 months or so. So I'm a Class B driver, so I should actually be able to do GT3. So I've been watching these guys for so long, and I'm actually going to be able to do it myself. I'll probably do very badly, but I'm excited to finally try these cars out properly.
You should have done the easy track, which is Watkins Glen. I think it was last week.
Oh, missed it.
Yes, that would have been a good track to hop back into. I don't know actually what it is this week. I haven't been paying attention too much to the regular GT3 series. It's Oran Park this week. You can stay away from that. Unless you like to race on a go-kart track. Actually see Mad Cow Racing back on Ham Endurance team. Daisy, as this mad cow is called.
Yeah, Mad Cow's had a bit of a. Well, they've been shaken up quite a lot this race, which
Yeah.
produces a milkshake. But yeah,
We didn't see much of the chocolate milk car.
No, apart from when it's crashed into the roof. I forget which one it was.
Ah, yes. GT Ross.
Yes, indeed.
Orange. Yep. You see, once again, I don't know. I feel so bad for Core Motorsports right now, but they were just close. They were within a second of Glacier Racing. Now they're 1.2. Glacier Racing goes and passes a lapped GTRS roof.
I don't blame him for being it slow. I think at this point I would have lost the will to live, and I would have just died and driven into a wall.
Nah, these drivers have been doing a great job so far. I mean, sure, you have a little bit of damage. I think the greatest ones right now for sure are Coanda. Their car, I think the only damage they really have to their car is the actual elevation changes moving, like the actual front bumper itself. Everything else, all 4 fenders, perfectly clean. No front bumper damage, no rear bumper damage. Everything looks pretty much perfect on that car. Rensbrook now back behind the wheel.
Yeah, one more stop for everyone. Yeah, 1 minute 8 ahead. I mean, this is about as good as you can get as far as dominating a race.
Oh, sorry. Continue.
I was just saying, with NX Racing Red in seconds, it's all academic. They'll keep second in the championship, but NX Racing Red will win it if it stays as it is.
Yeah, I think NX Racing Red dodged many bullets today. I mean, obviously, yes, they were unlucky, but also, you know, any incident they were in, yes, they had, you know, basically just slapping the wall contact from, you know, running too wide in a corner and whatnot. But like incidents in front of them, I believe it was R4R Motorsport that lost it in front of them, and they got damaged from that. You know, William Levesque slowed down as much as he could during the local yellow to try to avoid any heavy impacts. So, you know, they tried to do everything that they could, and we see Coanda have definitely done every single thing that they could. And even, you know, other teams, Glacier currently in the 3rd position, Core Motorsports trying to grab the 3rd position in points, currently in 4th, and X Racing Blue trying to jump a bunch of teams that are currently in 5th. So every team who's really hunting for something in the championship right now, you can see that they're really trying in this final round. And now I think it's a good time, Paso, to tell you a really funny story about what happened to me yesterday.
Let's go for it.
Okay, so I talked about this last round about going to Le Mans, and now that I have Rens Broekman currently driving around the track, it was actually after the race in Coda. Rens Broekman was on TeamSpeak, and also Jonathan Butel, and we were talking about Le Mans and everything. And I realized that I needed to get my passport in order to go. So first I was like, oh, there's a problem. I read how the rules in France are about, like, when you have your passport and whatnot. The first thing I read was that I thought it said that you needed to have your passport for at least 6 months before you try to go there, and it's actually the expiration date needs to be 6 months or more before you go there. As we have John Hall, seems like he just blew his motor coming down the mountain, number 45, the New World Sim Sports Scarlet. I'm guessing that they have damage, and I'm guessing the cooling to that car was terrible, and because of that, blew their engine. Not good for any McLaren out there who has a little bit of damage. We'll look at Vortex Sim Racing. Their car looks pretty clean, so I think they should be okay. But I realized that I needed a passport, so once I figured out that I needed it, I went to go get it yesterday. Well, I went through the entire process, real clean, easy going, and then I go to pay for it, and the guy's like, "Do you have cash?" Well, no, I didn't have that much money in cash, so I went to pay with my debit card. When I went to pay, it said card declined. Really threw me off. I had no idea why. I was like, expiration date isn't for a few months. So thankfully, I have one of the banks is very close that I could get to. Went over there, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, yeah, if you don't use your card for 6 weeks, your card just gets canceled."
Wow.
I had no idea, so it freaked me out. Screwed up my work schedule and everything because I had taken off an hour from work to try to go get that done. But thankfully, it's all now set in stone, and hopefully can get to Le Mans this year.
You're going to Le Mans.
Yeah.
You've not done it before, I take it.
No, I've actually never been to Europe. I've been to other parts outside of this country, but not Europe.
Oh. You should take a tour while you're over here.
I can't afford that.
Oh yeah, that money. That's the thing. Is a problem.
It's actually quite expensive for us to fly over there. By us, I mean North Americans.
While you were having that passport problem, the core motorsport car has fallen away quite significantly.
Yeah, not really sure why.
It's probably listening to your story.
Probably put him to sleep.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Alexander. Didn't mean to make you fall asleep.
Oh, that's I don't know if that really just happened. I think it did just happen. Infinity Esports, I think, just clouted the rear of the GTRS orange car. That's car 46 up the rear of. I'm not sure if that really just happened or if that was weird lag.
I know that. Oh.
No, it definitely happened.
Big. I know that before this race, actually this morning, before the race started, some of the Australians and even some of the Europeans were telling us that sometimes it looks as if they're hitting the wall when really they're not. So that, it might look silly on the broadcast and whatnot. So far, we haven't really noticed this too much, thankfully. But yeah, that could have also been an issue. But it sounds like the 132 was letting the 46 by, but then the 46 pulled back in line and possibly.
Yeah, 132 was braking quite heavily for the S's and got rammed. But yeah, not too much damage. I think the impact was exaggerated by the lag.
Yeah. And this sucks for Infinity Esports, who are well into the top 15, and then, got quite a bit of damage after, I believe it was an incident with the 22 car on Cal Racing. Jumping back up to Core Motorsports car, it looks like they've kind of stalled out here at 2 seconds. I'm not quite sure, maybe hoping for something at the pit stops or not. I know that Dave Haylink for NX Racing Blue is now only 5.6 seconds behind them, so that could be a problem.
Yeah, that's come down by a couple of seconds. So yeah,
that NX Racing Blue is normally early to pit though, so and it might help them with fresh tires, maybe get a little bit closer, but at the end of the race they're really going to struggle with tires. I also just want to follow up with NX Racing Red. They actually aren't 100% safe with second position. Glacier Racing is putting down some pretty great laps right now. Yanni Hagner's flying. He's most of the time either second or third fastest on track. He currently is only 1/10 off the fastest times, which is from Core Motorsports and Coanda Simsport. So Glacier Racing, Yanni Hagner, catching NX Racing Red and PJ Sturgis really fast.
Yeah,
possibly a threat for the end of the race.
PJ Sturgis has been spinning up the tyres occasionally, but I mean that's probably down to the fact that they're worn. But yeah, he's definitely not at full pace right now. Although to be fair, he's still lapping faster than many of the drivers on track right now.
Yeah, of course, where our commentary boxes and the TeamSpeak that we're in, we have a lot of teams in this TeamSpeak. One of which is NX Racing, and I guess they were listening to us just speaking because William Levesque just got a hold of me and said, "Don't worry, we're safe. We're just riding." So I guess PJ's just cruising, which like we were talking about before. I think PJ's fine with that.
Yeah.
Also, being 2 hours into a stint, something I think NX Racing learned this season with MOE is PJ and Jake Sturgis. Both of them have never really done endurance racing before. You've seen them do NASCAR stuff. You've seen them do F1, DWC. I think they've both done IndyCar as well. So, but we've never really seen them do endurance stuff. And it was kind of funny when they were talking before, and they said something about they only like to do 1 hour stints, or they don't really like to do double stinting, which back in Live for Speed days in MOE, that was the common thing. Normally, you'd see people jump in for 2 hours straight.
Yeah, it was the done thing. You're right. Occasionally, people would sometimes go for 4 or 5 if they were feeling particularly daring.
Exactly. Another one, we were mentioning about them earlier. They've actually just passed into the 8th position. They just passed Marlboro Motorsport, who we've seen have struggled a little bit. I think last time they almost ran out of fuel entering their pit stall. But we see Flux Racing Team currently in the 8th position. We were talking about them earlier. I believe it was Eif. I don't actually know how to pronounce your name, sorry. But they were, I think, in the 15th or so position. Now currently in the 8th position. This would be a really good result for them.
Yeah, they've. Where did they start?
They started pretty well back. They were one of the teams that suffered one of the incidents on the back straight at Coda, at the end of the back straightaway. Teams, I don't know if they were falling asleep on the end of the back straightaway or what, but they, when under braking, they would just simply have contact with the car next to them, and then they would spin. And that's a high-speed spin when you have contact just when you start braking at Coda.
Yeah, these guys started 26th, so yeah, they're up 18 positions.
Great day for them then. Still an hour left, but I think so far it looks like the only thing they're going to be doing is moving forward. However, I don't think that they're going to be able to catch the next car ahead, which will pull you up the graphic right now just to show, is 1 minute 52 seconds ahead of them. So they're actually closer. I'll show you right now where Marcus Mayer and Trinity Motorsports 3 is. Just behind them, actually.
Wow.
So, yeah, I think 8th position is probably the farthest up that Flux Racing Team is going to get. And I think also it's a really good race for this team here, Trinity Motorsports 3, which, if you think you have Trinity Motorsports 1, 2, and 3, you would think Trinity Motorsports 3 would be the team that would possibly have the weakest lineup. Yet, right now, they're running in the 7th position and leading their overall team.
Yeah, and putting in some decent lap times as well.
I guess maybe a little bit of bragging rights. Yes, because currently Trinity Motorsports, the number 60 car, is 16th in the championship. They've been doing pretty good all season. However, they're 22nd in this race today, so big difference.
So you're watching the 6 hours of Bathurst, sponsored by IGPManager.com for the Masters of Endurance 2014-2015 season. It's the final round. And as you'll probably be aware, with NX Racing Red currently sitting in 2nd position, they are in line to win the championship, but there's still an hour to go. It would take something pretty bad to happening to ruin it, but never. It's not over until the fat lady sings and the checkered flag drops. Or the fat lady drops a checkered flag.
We actually have, dare I say once again, the Core Motorsports car. You see come down the mountain now. It just went from 1.2 seconds now to under 3/4 of a second behind Glacier Racing. Gained almost about half a second roughly just going down this mountain alone. Core Motorsports currently on it. Saying maybe if they can catch by the end of this lap and also end of the stint.
Yeah, problem is there's no way using pit strategy can help them overtake, because Glacier have got the upper hand in that regard. So it's going to have to be an overtake on track.
Yes, Glacier actually has newer tires in this battle. So we can see really that the roof is faster. It's just they have no real way around. I think what they're going to need to do, and I think this is what they're doing right now, they kind of regrouped being a little farther back. Now they're going to get as close as they can to Glacier and then pit. They're going to short pit, take the tires, and try to undercut them as much as they possibly can, and then hope that Glacier Racing doing the shorter pit at the end of this race won't help them as much, since Core Motorsport will have the fresher tires.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the undercut is probably a good idea. You're right. Yeah, because Glacier do need to stay out a little bit longer to make the most of what they've already done. Or they could pit at the same time.
I don't think actually Core Motorsports can go that far on fuel to do that.
Ah.
And
No, I
there's
mean, they
Alexia
could
sorry.
pit earlier and then...
Oh, yes. And
Yeah.
take less fuel, yep.
Yeah. Pit earlier, take more fuel, but have newer tyres sooner.
And as the final hour of the season begins, Alexia Loma wanted to say, boogity, boogity, boogity. Wow. So far this season we've had 53 hours of coverage. There's the final hour now. Pretty crazy 53 hours though.
Yeah, you've been there for pretty much every single one of them.
Yeah, every single one. Can't miss a beat of it. Oh, it's...
Ah,
Okay,
that's
now
interesting.
Now I see what Glacier Racing was talking about with it being the final stint. So they're going to short pit here. They're going to take tires. Now we saw something like this earlier where NX Racing Red, I'm actually going to watch here and see. They're going to take tires for sure. We saw this earlier though with NX Racing Red. They pit after Coanda, yet they actually gained that position, something we haven't seen all season long. And logically we shouldn't see. As NX Racing Blue also pit. You see them just behind. Alexia Loma is going to jump in for Glacier Racing. We see Trinity, one of the Trinity cars, into the pit lane. New Old SimSport exit. NX Racing Blue driver change. Jake Sturgis now behind the wheel. Now see, Jake Sturgis isn't out of this. NX Racing Blue ain't out of this either. They could possibly gain if Glacier Racing and Core Motorsport get into a battle. They were only 5 seconds behind before the pit stop. Glacier Racing, however, they're going to have a really quick pit stop here as you see them take tires. So now with that tire change, we should see them take off. Vortex Sim Racing now into the pits. Vortex actually very quiet there in the 6th position. See Trinity Motorsports just behind now. They haven't pit this lap, but they're up to the 5th position because of that. NX Blue now on the move as well.
What was the time for Glacier's stop?
This is actually interesting news that I was not expecting. So that last pit stop, they did take less fuel, but they took so low amount of fuel that they had to take pretty much full fuel this time. And because of that, their stop was 55 seconds, which is the normal pit stop length.
So that's going to help Core then eventually when they come in.
Yeah, I think Core Motorsport's going to be the benefactor of this, unless Alexei Aloma can pop down a really good lap. Their best lap so far out of this race is a 2:02.3. I think they're going to need to match that this next lap. Alexei will have to, in order to stay ahead of Core Motorsport. And I believe if they do stay ahead, that they could possibly stay ahead all the way to the end of the race. Curious, Core Motorsport did not pit that lap. So I think they're going to go on the different strategy of we're going to pit as late as possible and take a lower amount of fuel. And that's also going to shorten their pit stop. So is it going to be pit stop time, the shorter pit stop time helping, or the fresh tires of Glacier Racing helping?
Yeah, car's looking a little bit floaty, although they all do when they look over the mountain, but lots of hesitant throttle control, keeping it in control. In they come, Core Motorsports. This will be interesting. Got to nail that pit entry. They did. Very, very good from Alexander Voss.
Yeah, I think this also is just going to be fuel and tires here, but with 54 minutes remaining. No need to do anything else, as we also see Trinity Motorsports 3 into the pits. Or sorry, now exiting the pits. Going to be in the 7th position. Vortex Sim Racing has just flown by.
So Glacier had just come out of Forrester's elbow, and they're onto the Conrod straight now.
I don't think they're going to be safe here. I think Core Motorsports will have overtaken them. I think Core Motorsports going to have at least 3 seconds less on fuel, and I don't think Glacier Racing have gained that much by being out 2 laps more, or 2 laps less.
CTC Racing just had a disaster at the Dipper. Kalle Ruokola lost it in the middle of the corner, hit the barrier, and they've pitted. So Glacier have gone past the pit lane. Core are coming out the pit lane. Glacier, I think, have
just
got
hear them
this.
accelerate.
Oh
it's
no!
going to be
No,
Core's
they haven't
going to
got
be
it.
ahead, but maybe Glacier. No, Glacier's not even going to have enough to have any straight line right here. So this is Core Motorsport here, and I think Core is going to be ready to go. The only thing I could see possibly is Glacier's tires already up to temperature, which I don't even think that matters. I think Core might be faster because of that. And if Glacier can stay close enough through the mountain, maybe, just maybe, they can get a run down that back straight.
Yeah, this will be interesting. Yeah, if Koch can be very quick through the corners and outpace Alexei Aloma, he could break the draft. But right now, it's looking pretty dicey.
Yeah, I think for Core Motorsport, or for both teams, finishing third in this race, awesome. For Core, I don't think it matters third or fourth. They're going to get P3 in the championship, no matter where they finish. I think for Glacier, though, third position, being on the podium, I think that's going to be like a win for them. So, unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're going to have the speed here. They're going to have the straight line speed, but they didn't have the speed going down the mountain. So unless
Look how
there's a
quickly
mistake
they're-
by Core,
That's so fast.
dare I say that maybe they didn't need to be fast down the mountain. They got so much speed here. If they can stay with them until the exit of turn 1, then maybe that's all they need.
Yeah, that was pretty outrageous. They had about 8 miles an hour on Core at the end of the straight. I don't know what that is in kilometers an hour, so get your calculators out.
Core ran a little wide there, possibly helped them carry some speed, but only 0.3 of a second when exiting turn 1. I don't think that's going to be enough. I think Glacier's going to be along the inside, and Nils Koch knew that and just let him have it.
Yeah. It's an unwinnable battle, it looks like.
Yeah, that is one of the craziest things. I mean, the roof is not that slow in a straight line. If Core Motorsports didn't have the front damage that they have, there wouldn't be an issue here. But they have that front damage, and it's clearly hurting them in the straight line. And that's just allowing Glacier to easily motor on by. Now Alexei Aloma just has to survive for another 50 minutes. Like I was saying during this is basically like a win to Glacier, as now they're coming up on a lapped car here. Monster Energy Endurance.
Yeah,
just ahead.
Patrice Langley, who's driving their P16.
Had a pretty quiet race as well.
Yeah, I remember them being involved in something at the beginning of the race, but yeah, since then they've kept it on the island and not had any issues, as far as we can see anyway.
Oh, just a thing from the Flux Racing team. They did, I believe you said P26 is where they started. They actually started from the pits.
Oh.
Yes.
Ooh, Niels Koch has been forced off the track, or he tried to pass around the outside of that right-hand kink and was unable to do so, and that's pretty much put pay to any challenge he would have had on the Glacier Racing team.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to catch back up to them, but I don't think it's going to matter really,
No.
unless there's some crazy move he can do at the very end. I believe that 25 should just allow them, yeah.
Tweet from Stefan Ullman from Kraut Racing. Still, they're back in the race after 70 minutes of repair job in the pit lane in P34. They say he's not happy about their mistakes, but they learned a lot at least. So, staying positive.
Yeah,
Indeed,
and I think
Christian
they won the
Schick.
award for the longest repair time as well, 70 minutes.
There must have been literally everything replaced.
Yeah, it's everything replaced plus optional repairs is all I could think of.
Yeah, I guess if you're going to be in the pits for an hour, you might as well get optional repairs as well. Make everything all
Exactly.
right.
And just want to note as well, the 77 car now exiting the pits. This is going to be their final pit stop, Marlboro Motorsport. In the 12th position, I'd expect them to be farther up. Maybe other teams around them haven't pit.
So joining us in the commentary box is Joni Hagner from Glacier Racing, and we just saw your pit strategy work because it worked to the extent that you're able to be close enough to Core and overtake them with the massive forward power that you seem to have.
Yeah, our tactics was first did my second stint to get ahead on track position on track to Inex and Core, and I think it worked really well because Core got some straight line speed, so there was like no challenge for us on the straights.
Do you think you have the pace in the corners, enough pace in the corners to keep ahead and keep the third position?
Yeah, because Elma is a faster driver, at least today, than me, so I think it's looking pretty good this moment.
So overall, what do you reckon to your season? Where are you going to get in the championship? Let me have a look. Glacier Racing. So you'll probably be sitting around near the top 10 after this. That's a pretty good result. Was that what you were expecting at the beginning of the season?
Well, not with the slower Ford GT. What was in the start of the season, but we got good races, solid pace all the time, no mistakes, like this race. Only downside is we wrecked at Spa and lost like the double points, and we were in, I don't know, what, third place there when that happened.
Yeah. And do you reckon if there was another Masters of Endurance season, would you pick this car again?
Yeah, because this car is the best to drive. No, hands down. It's slow but steady.
Slow but steady, exactly. Well, it gets a lot of airtime on our stream, that's for sure. We always seem to be looking at it, and always seem to be talking to you guys.
Even when we try not to, you guys are always in a battle that we just have to show you.
Well, that's good.
Speaking of which, you're saying about the car being slow and steady, and we were talking about earlier, like the Roof, for example, very, very fast car, but it seems like not many teams are able to have it last full race distances. Is the Ford like that, or is the Ford pretty tame, and you think it's much easier to drive for a full stint, like the rear tires or whatnot, don't give you any issues?
Yeah, it's I think it's best for the tires overall, but there's few tricks to get the tires last. So yeah, it's slow, but it's not that slow on race tip.
Yeah, I think in the race, I mean, like you were saying before, slow and steady, but I think you guys have just been so consistent. Outside of the mistake at Spa, you guys have probably been the most consistent team as far as just pure lap times, no mistakes. Outside of Spa, you've had pretty much no damage on your car. Can't really say that for any other team this season.
Yeah. Good team. Nothing else to say to that.
I think if you guys had a more competitive car, you'd be definitely competing for the championship. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I know.
But wouldn't be having as much fun.
Yeah. Underdogs are better.
Well, that's definitely true. I do agree with that now. I think with what's going on, if you can hold third position in this race, you'll definitely overtake NX Racing Blue, who's in 5th currently, as you are only 1 point behind them in the championship. And you would jump R4R Motorsport, Radicals Online 2, Team Redline, Virgil Racing, possibly. And yes, that would put you in the 8th position in points. So if you could hold this, you'll either be 8th or 9th in points. That'll be a really good result for you guys.
Yeah, better than expected at the start of the season.
I think when you guys, I don't know if you remember, but when you qualified 40-something position at Road America, what on earth was passing through y'all's mind when you're like, well, this is going to be a real challenge?
Well, I don't know. The 45 kilos what they remembered from the car was like a good thing. Plus, we learned about the car quite a lot after that race.
Yeah, I think you guys ended up finishing 10th in that race. I don't want to, maybe 8th. I don't remember. It was in the top 10. I'm almost positive that you guys ended up finishing, which was a great result.
Yeah. About best teams, this car is the full mileage, and we used that in the first race, and get like, was it 1 or 2 stops less than others, so it helped quite a lot.
Yes, and I know that iRacing thought about changing it for the Daytona 24, and there was a lot of people who were completely against that. It looks like they ended up not changing it.
Yeah, they didn't change it. What was good thing?
Yeah, I think that was best, especially, well, any endurance race really for the Ford GT, especially with how, well, you guys know it's slow, so how slow it is in comparison to the other cars. So the only advantage it really has besides the straight line speed is the fuel mileage. I think it's good that iRacing kept that.
Yeah. We are like, let's say if we are in qualifying, we are like 6 to 8 tenths behind the fastest on qualifying trim, so it's quite a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely quite a bit, especially when I think we all know that. I mean, you guys love the Ford, whether it be the GT2 or I know you guys love the Ford GT2. So the GT3 model shouldn't drive much differently, and you guys should be able to push it to its limits more than almost any other team out there, or any other team out there. So when you guys are struggling, I'm pretty sure everyone sees that, you know, that car itself is struggling.
Yeah, and well, GT2 and GT3 cars are, well, not even close.
There's no real comparison when driving?
No, because GT3 car got so much more aerodynamical grip and power, so it's different animal.
I'm actually hoping that sometime or another iRacing can kill some of the, I don't know if it's downforce or grip, whatever the GT3 cars have, to hopefully put it more in line with real life, which is a little bit slower than GT2 cars normally.
Yeah, what I watched at the 12 hours of Bathurst here, was it last weekend or something, the top guys in GT3 cars was like 15 kilometers faster on this back straight than us.
Yeah, I think from what I was assuming with this, I don't know if true or not, but I was thinking it was something along the lines of, we have too much downforce and too much drag. So, you know, the downforce essentially will allow us to go way too fast in the high-speed corners, which we see. And then also we have too much drag, which is making us slower in a straight line. So places like Bathurst, for example, you know, we're really quick through the mountain, but then when it comes to the straights, we're so much slower because we have all that drag.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know, I think all the GT3 drivers should just group together one day and make a big thread about it in the forum and hope iRacing listens. Constructive one, that is, not just arguing.
We only hanger from Glacier Racing. Best of luck with the rest of the race, and thank you for talking to us again.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, good luck. See on stream here, the Ham Endurance team, number 2, and Team Camaro, currently battling on track. Ham Endurance team just came out of the pits for their final pit stop.
Yep.
Darren Seal for Team Camaro trying to chase him down.
Yeah, only 3 laps old tyres on Darren Seal's car, so they should be pretty equal. On screen in a moment, you're going to see another code for another 12 months of 2D Pack on igpmanager.com. To redeem it, and this is a one-use code, head to igpmanager.com/special for both new and existing members to get your full year of the 2D Pack there. And so we'll just keep that on screen for a bit longer so you can scribble it down. And best of luck. And thank you to igpmanager.com for their support of Masters of Endurance 2014-2015 season.
Yeah, I also want to note that they're doing prizes for the top 3 as well in the championship. Jack Bassford is nice enough to allow subscriptions to the top 3 teams. Those same 12-month subscriptions that viewers and other drivers can acquire by just stealing those codes. Not stealing, but you know what I mean.
Pirate.
Yeah, they also will get that to the top 3. And then also we have Derek Spear Designs, who... Derek Spear, awesome guy. We asked him about possibly sponsoring Masters of Endurance, and when he heard of the league, he couldn't say no. So, mad props to him for stepping in and helping us out big time in this series. Also to Grand Prix Manager 247.com, Paul Velasco, getting in touch with us, and actually follow along with them. Oh, wow, I just said Grand Prix Manager. Sorry, I was thinking of IGP Manager. Grand Prix 247.com. Just reading some of the stuff there about McLaren. What do you think, Paso? McLaren, good, bad? Honda?
It's impossible to tell, isn't it? I mean, coming in with a brand new engine. I mean, last year it hurt everyone but Mercedes. So, but if anyone can do it, Honda with loads of cash with the mega bucks, they can do it. Although to be fair, they don't have the greatest of track records in recent F1 history, but
they have a long road ahead of them, I think.
Yeah, still a good-looking car, so they've got that.
Yeah. Wait, you think that's good looking?
I like it. Yeah, I think it's great. I thought it was a bit boring to begin with, but it's grown on me. And out on track, it looks good in the sun, in the Spanish sun.
And also outside of Grand Prix 24/7, we also have Blue Flag Racing, which helped us out for the Spa 24-hour race. Gave some money to the top 3 finishers there, so thank you to Blue Flag Racing for the 24-hour race.
Yeah, they can be found on facebook.com/Blue Flag Racing on that one. So yeah, cheers guys.
Now, for the final 35 minutes of the race. Interesting thing going on here. We see Darren Seals drop back a little bit from Ham Endurance team. I think I was expecting that just a little bit. Ham Endurance team's been moving up quite rapidly. And also the fact that final spot in the top 10. I think Ham Endurance team, Martin Solari, currently behind the wheel. I think they're going to be pushing that quite hard for that top 10. And then also, just want to note that Core Motorsports, you see in front of them, 5.3 or so seconds behind Alexia Loma and Glacier Racing. You see Alexia Loma just did a 202.7 last lap. Second fastest car on track, just behind Klaus Kivicus and Coenda Simsport. So, stunning pace right now by Alexia Loma.
Yeah, it is, especially 11 laps into the stint as well.
Yeah, I think it's something along the lines of, sure, it's only 30 minutes left, but it seems as Glacier Racing guys, they don't stop pushing. They see that just ahead of them. We're going to jump just to look ahead time-wise. You see that William Levesque and NX Racing Red only 17 seconds ahead. I don't think that they believe that they can catch him by the end. As you can see, William Levesque just put in one of the fastest laps that last lap. Actually, the fastest lap, 202.639, just 0.02 of a second faster than Coenda Simsport. And once again, actually, Alexia Loma, 202.8. So yeah, very consistent laps there. Nils Koch now 5 seconds behind. And also, Jake Sturgis for NX Racing Blue has fallen just around 6 seconds behind Core Motorsport.
I'm going to go have a look through the field to find out which car has the most damage that's still running. Give them an award. The scrap bucket award. Rust bucket award, there you go. You need to find a good view to look at it.
Since we were talking about Coenda Simsport, here they are here. Soon to possibly lap NX Racing Blue, actually, we were just watching by the end of this race, on the same straight. But Coenda Simsport currently 1 minute 19 seconds, possibly 1 minute 20 seconds ahead of NX Racing Red. For anyone who watched the entire 24-hour race, or at least got to watch the end of it, this was pretty much the gap at the end of the 24-hour race where the top 2 positions were swapped around. So I'd say that Koenig had a nice little race here. Klaus Kievikus and Rens Broekman behind the wheel. Rens Broekman doing the first 2 hours, and possibly once Koenig got the lead at the end of the first 2 hours, Klaus Kievikus extended that lead. And you can see a 2:02.4 by Klaus, clearly still on it.
I think I found my most damaged car still running. I'm going to give the Rust Bucket Award to KRT Motorsport, currently running in P24. Number 97.
Wow. They're in P24 and they have the most. Oh, okay. Yeah. Actually, the car passing Rick on Racing, their front end's not looking too good either. That rear wing, look how much negative wing that thing has. It's pointing the wrong way.
Yeah. Either way, there's a consolation prize there. There's a whole load of cars bunching up behind these guys now as well.
Yeah, Glacier Racing, grateful to get past on the straight there. We see, well, we can't really see, but Core Motorsports in the background. They're probably going to have to pass them in the mountain. Also, a shout out to Andy Purz, who has done a lot of stints this race, mainly due to the fact of the server outage earlier in the race. That's, well, iRacing going down, that is. Didn't help his cause. He had to drive the first 3 stints completely by himself.
Yeah.
And now we have Team Kimura possibly having a run on Ham Endurance Team. This is, whoa, straight line speed advantage here.
I don't know, about 5 or 6 kph on him, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that GTRS, that roof that they were passing, held up Ham Endurance Team, hurt their straight line speed entering the straightaway while exiting the mountain. And due to that, allowed Team Kimura to have a huge run.
So that was a pass for 10th.
Yeah, I think that this battle won't be over because Ham Endurance Team, I think they're going to want that top 10 finish. I know that Luis Rodriguez, who normally runs for the Ham Endurance Team, and the number 78 McLaren, he was driving for Vortex Sim Racing number 2, which they retired early from the race. So I guess that's one of the reasons that the 78 McLaren of Ham Endurance Team weren't able to race today. Maybe he didn't have a co-driver and instead drove for Vortex Sim Racing.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, this is the closest battle on track, so yeah, we'll stick with this one, I reckon.
I doubt it's going to be over. Could be though, not sure. I haven't seen Martin Solari so far in this race. We haven't actually watched when he's driving for this team. Before we were watching Fernando.
So looking ahead to, I know there's no plans for, no official plans for a season 2 of this, but if there were any points that you would, anything you'd change about, rules or the way the events are, because it's run really smoothly this year, especially considering the oddities that iRacing throws up with gridding and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah, that's the main thing, probably gridding. Still trying to figure out how to. I'd hate to do it, but like maybe possibly qualifying before the race.
Pre-qualifying for qualifying and then qualifying.
Exactly. And qualifying before the race. Only thing is the 24-hour race, you have, it's literally right before. So that's sort of an issue there.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't want people to have that hot lapping mentality just before the race starts. That's why I like to have them separate. So maybe by then, iRacing has some form of grid creator or the tournament feature working for teams, because that would be huge for us.
That'd be pretty good.
Also, one of the things changing would probably be the amount of time you can drive. Probably go back to the older MOE numbers. So, but that's only going to be for the 24 and 12 hour race. So 24 and 12 hour race, the longest you can drive is 45%, basically making a third driver required for the 6 hour and 1,000-kilometer races, which we're probably going to bring back the 1,000-kilometer race next season. I think that was a cool little twist. It was 5 hours and 45 minutes roughly, so close enough.
Yeah, it was totally different to being 6 hours.
So probably for those two races, it would be a 60% situation there. So basically that means that a driver can only drive around 3 hours, so 3 stints. So that would be the difference there. And obviously I said 60%, not 16. And we'll think about tracks, but who knows?
Vote. It should be like a one track, be like a voted thing, like the drivers vote on it.
Yeah.
Or get. You know what you should add? You should add fan boost. I think that would be excellent. Get everyone involved.
Possibly jumping back up to 6 rounds like we had in past seasons. We didn't do it this season because we started so late. We'd be starting at the end of October probably next season if we started. So, yeah. There's a bunch of things to consider. We want to talk to the teams and everything since they are the ones that will be competing in the race. So
like a MOE teams association. That will get political.
We want their opinions, see what they like, what they would like to see changed, etc. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones racing in it. We're not. So we'd like to be able to make sure that they're satisfied.
The one thing you wouldn't change the lineup of commentators because I think that's pretty much perfect.
I don't know. I think that could possibly change up some broadcasting stuff. Who knows? Yeah, I know. But it would allow us to have a little bit better live adminning, have some more admins available who aren't worried about the broadcast. Because this whole in-house broadcasting thing really takes up a lot of resources.
Yeah.
But we also need to look at not having teams, have an entry fee. That's not something we want. We want to keep Masters of Endurance free.
It changes the whole dynamic if you make it a cost, it changes everything.
As we see now, Ham Endurance team stuck in between Monster Energy and Endurance, who are letting them by, and then also NX Racing Red. But you're going to see NX Racing Red catch them in their mirror, and they're just going to look back and see a broken car. So probably going to be wary about letting them by, but they know they need to.
It's not over yet between these two. That's why we've kept looking at them. They are still the closest battle on track. The lead currently held by Commander Simsport is 1 minute and 19 seconds. Klaus Kivakes currently leading for them. NX Racing Red, though, as you saw, still second with William Levesque taking the final stint.
Yeah,
Glacier Racing still third.
William Levesque's pushing right now. He's actually, I don't know why he's doing it, but he just drove the fastest lap out of anyone. Last lap, 2:02.6. Klaus Kivakes being, half a lap ahead, just completed his lap. It was a 2:02.8. Last lap he was in the 3s, so I'm not quite sure why Will is pushing the car so hard.
Yeah, that was the fastest lap of anyone, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
By the way, the distance we've just done, 162 laps, that is the Bathurst 1000. So, just a heads up there. Apologies that this isn't V8 Supercars to all the Australians that may be watching.
William Levesque, although he just got sort of past... Oh no, he's now going to lap Ham Endurance
Yeah,
team
Ham
again.
Endurance team's going to let him by, knowing that, yes, you're slower on the straights, but we'll allow you to pass because you're so much faster in the corners, and you're currently in the second position.
Kind of SimSport are about to come up against a couple of lapped cars battling, in fact, for 29th position. It's, well, it was a battle, and then, well, it was GTRS Azure versus Infinity, but the Azure car being driven by Corentin Goncalves is pulled over. I don't know if they're on...
It's not actually a battle for position. They are one
Are they on
position
different
apart,
laps?
but they're a lap apart,
Ah,
yes.
right, okay. Yeah, I wondered why that wasn't showing up on my tracky, whatchamacallit.
Yeah, we also saw CTC Racing going really slow there, possibly having another issue.
But they always slow down massively when they're being lapped, I've noticed in this race.
See Cohen to SimSport here, passing the line, 20 minutes left. Should be roughly 10 laps, 2 minutes a lap. I'm going to jump back to this battle here. I think this is another situation where McLaren possibly faster on the straights, especially this Team Camaro car. They don't look like they have any damage. Been doing a great job. And the Ham Endurance team possibly a little bit of damage, especially the rear wing. You can see a little mark to it. So probably one of the situations where they can't pass in a straight line, and that's going to kill them.
Yeah, he's got a couple of kilometers an hour on top of the Camaro car, but it's not quite enough to get him up to the rear. But yeah, that aerodynamic damage definitely not helping.
Yeah, even in the draft, only a couple KP8s, that's not enough. Also, a shout out to the CTC guys. Supposed to get an interview with them, but looking at this last 20 minutes, probably won't be able to do that. CTC guys doing the Lotus 79. I don't know if you've seen that before. They actually have a lot of the paints and whatnot for the Lotus 79. They use like those old classic paint schemes that you see from cars back in the day.
Oh yeah, it kind of I noticed it, but then kind of didn't make the connection.
Yeah, so I'm guessing the CTC is a classic team championship, but essentially what they are is just a group of drivers from the Lotus 79 who are racing the Masters of Endurance. Pretty cool setup there. They had a thread, I believe, at the beginning of or just before the beginning of the MOE season, where they spoke and pretty much formed up a team to race in this. Pretty cool to see just a random part of the community, the Lotus 79, just make a race team for a completely different category, a GT3 league. So a shout out to them for that. As I think Darren Seal for Team Camaro have gotten comfortable here out in front. Well, out in front of Ham Endurance team. And also a shout out to Harrison Woodlitz and hopefully I said that correctly, and Team Window Liquors. Very intelligent name, I guess you could say. See a pretty interesting paint scheme here for this car. I believe JD Laird's behind it. Purple and lime green. It's your favorite colors, isn't it, Paso?
If it, it's not the worst thing we've ever seen, but I don't know. That's not saying much.
Oh, you don't remember? Actually, I know you remember it from ITCC
The teddy bears.
Championship.
Yes, of course.
Oh, and we have a battle here. Jonathan Butel, Pure Racing Team. Was this 1? Yes. Number 45, number 7. This is for the 27th position. Going to battle with 16 minutes left.
I just got to
highly damaged cars.
The first Trinity Motorsports car has blown its engine and is currently limping its way down the mountain.
Oh no!
And they
Dirk
were
Reinhardt again. Yeah, 22nd position. He had a last race. He was probably the most unluckiest driver I've ever seen in a single race. He got spun. He got spun early. Then he drove. When he got spun, he had to wait for every single car to go by. Next thing you know, he was like 47th.
Whoa.
And then, as we see Pure Racing Team going by New World Sim Sports Scarlet, but he went all the way back to 47th. Then he battled his way all the way back into the top 20, and was going to get a good result. And then had a huge off with some help at the end of the Coda back straight with less than an hour to go. Ended his race.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if he's made it back to the pits, actually. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's in the pits now.
We were worried about Trinity. Not Trinity. Yeah, Trinity Motorsports 3. Didn't we say something about they're almost a lap behind Vortex Sim Racing or something like that at one point? That they were not going to be able to move up? Or,
yeah.
Sorry, that was Flux Racing. That was
Flux.
Racing.
Yeah, that was Flux.
Yes.
You're right. Yeah.
However, Trinity
Close.
Motorsports 3 are 1 second behind Vortex Sim Racing, so we're going to keep an eye on that. See if anything's going to happen there within the final 15 minutes of this race.
Yeah, and on screen you got Ham Endurance still up the rear of Team Chimera.
I think this is one of those situations where the car behind isn't as fast in a straight line, and it's just prohibiting any overtaking maneuver. I think we can go on board just for a second here. We'll see the Ham Endurance team probably closing in under braking, maybe. He's already only 4/10 behind, so maybe not.
So we got just over 13 minutes to go in this race. And barring any disasters, Commander SimSport look to have this all wrapped up. But it's NX Racing Red in second who will take the championship in 13 minutes time if all goes to plan.
I think all they have to do is drive for another 5 minutes or so, and then even if they had a detrimental crash at the end of their race, they should still be able to finish with enough amount of laps to where people in P17, which is what they need to beat, P17 or better, in order to acquire the championship. So as long as they can survive for another 4 or 5 minutes, they should be okay. I know I say that with 12 and a half minutes remaining.
Yeah.
But it's worst case scenario.
Well, I mean,
we're looking at this battle, and we're probably going to switch off of it just after they enter the mountain here, because Trinity Motorsports 3 have caught Vortex Sim Racing. As we see here, the car just ahead is Vortex. And actually, look at the car in front of Vortex. That's actually the 8th positioned car, Flux Racing Team. So we have 6th position, Vortex Sim Racing, that McLaren. 7th position, we're riding on board with Trinity Motorsports 3. And then Flux Racing in 8th, just ahead of both of them.
Yeah, full lap. So yeah, so you've got Joel Guez for Vortex and Mark Lemers for Trinity Motorsports, who you're riding on board with, and they're just about to draft their way past the Flux Racing car of Van Genechten.
This is interesting here. Marcel has a nice run. Oh, don't go in the middle. Don't do that.
Try to make it 3 wide.
Yeah, always enjoyable to have a nice onboard to freak you out with 10 minutes remaining in a race.
Trinity Motorsports 3 are actually only 41st in the championship.
Yeah, they've while they've raced almost. Have they raced every round? Or at least attempted to?
I
I'm
couldn't
not
tell
sure
you.
it's rounds 1 and 3, but I know they're here for rounds 2 and 4. And yeah,
They scored in
way
rounds
down.
2 and 4, yeah. And it looks like the Trinity Motorsport 3 car is right up behind, but wisely didn't try to make the move into Griffin's.
I think Marcel knows that he's going to need to get as far alongside as he can Vortex Sim Racing. You know, he
Yeah.
didn't really gain too much in the mountain section there, at least on the downhill.
No, he's closest at the end of the mountain straight, and then lost time throughout the mountain section. But he's got a bit of a straight line speed advantage, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough to get him into the chase.
Yeah, this is
Or maybe
actually
I'm completely
relatively
wrong.
clean. As we're watching this and we see those two going at it, and then right behind them is actually a battle for position. Literally right behind them is a battle for 8th and 9th. Flux Racing Team just got passed by Marlboro Motorsport.
So riding on board with the Flux car of Van Genechten, who just got passed for that for the 8th position. So now Marlboro have got the 8th. So we thought Marlboro weren't going to catch anyone, but they have very well. They've done a great job. Mikko Nitinmäki has done a great job.
Yeah, and this is 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th in line in that order. However, 8th and 9th are 1 lap behind 6th and 7th. Odd to say, but that's currently how it is. We see Trinity Motorsports 3 all over the back, and this is interesting because Marlboro Motorsport must be faster than all of these guys ahead of them. Yeah, we see both of these cars have kept clean all race long. You don't see any damage on any of them. And I think that's why we see the draft so effective for Trinity, mainly because they don't have damage and they're actually able to utilize the draft properly. We'll see right here. They'll probably gain 0.2 of a second and be about 1/10 by the time they hit braking.
It's about the closest he's been, but just not. He knows that trying to get alongside would just mean braking absurdly late and he'd be in the gravel. So sensible driving from Marcel Meuse there. Not long to go. Oh, he's making a move into the final corner. That
I don't
was
think he
surprising.
meant to do that.
No, I don't think so either. I think Vortex ran a bit wide, Joel Guez, and make the gap.
Yeah, I think maybe Joel braked a little bit earlier than what he wanted to, and then you could almost look like he let off the brakes a tad bit, and that's why he ran wide. And then Marcel was kind of shocked by it all and wasn't able to take advantage of it. Yeah, there's no way he can look up the inside here, I don't believe. Nope. You see the little Spitfire from the McLaren. See outside the car here, Trinity's not alone. You have Marlboro Motorsport just behind. And the reason that this is kind of confusing is because while Marlboro Motorsport is one position behind Trinity Motorsports 3, they're one lap down. So they don't want to pass and get into and ruin the battle ahead of them. But at the same time, they need to keep Flux Racing behind them.
Yes, it's a bit of a... Oh, and in fact, I think Merz just made a bit of a mistake, and that could... Actually, no, the Mongrel car's fallen behind a bit, so they should be okay for now. But yes, it could, towards the end of the race, be a bit of a matter of contention. Again, we're seeing the Trinity Motorsports car. But again, oh, he does go to the inside. It's a bit more optimistic than last time, and that's caused Guez to run wide. If he gets a good run out of the chase, which he almost did, but he's still to the inside, but I don't think there's an overlap. But if Guez brakes a bit early, he might make this. And in fact, yes, Merz has started to make the pass, but Guez gets a good run through the exit of Murray's and stays ahead. And now the Marlboro Motorsport car... was thinking of going through. Yeah,
this is painful now.
This is really awkward because Flux Racing could easily just take the Marlboro car, and the Marlboro car, I think, which is Nitimeki should have just gone past. He has every right to do so. So we got two battles.
At the same time, yeah, he doesn't want to conflict with anything. As we see inside for Trinity Motorsports trying to pass Vortex Sim Racing, they're going to do that.
Yeah.
We also saw a Flux Racing team on the outside of Marlboro Motorsport just behind.
That was a clean move. Now, I think Nitimeki of Marlboro should now attempt to get past the Vortex car as well, just to give himself a bit of breathing room over the Van Genekten Flux Racing car.
Yeah, I think this is a big problem here for him. Vortex Sim Racing dropped back a little bit here at the end of the race. I think now, unless Vortex believes that they can really catch, re-catch Trinity Motorsports 3 and have a battle, maybe you should just, allow the two cars battling behind you to battle it out. And Koena Simsport just passed the line. We're not going to deviate from this battle just yet, but Koena Simsport just passed the line for 2 laps to go. And earlier we had an issue where no cars were within 3 seconds of each other. Now we have about 4 battles on the racetrack. 2 of them right in front of us. Then we also have the Ham Endurance team and Team Kimura battle. And then we also have a battle possibly brewing up for P4 between Core Motorsports and NX Racing Blue.
Yeah, that is... that's really coming. Yeah, that's going to happen imminently, in fact. The Jake Sturgis NX Racing Blue car is right up behind the Core Racing car. We thought they'd be secure in 4th, but not so much. Well, there's plenty of lapped cars they can use to draft. In fact, there are 3 cars ahead of them. New World Simsport, one of them, and GT Ross Orange, I think, and they're going past all 3 of them. Oh, and NX Racing Blue has got so much speed.
Oh, are you kidding me?
That is unbelievable. Jake Sturgios just threaded the eye of the needle at obscene speed into the chase and completes the move for 4th position. What a great move.
I think that couldn't have been done. Thankfully, Nils didn't try any defensive maneuver. I think he probably knew what was going to happen there. He knew that he was also down on straight line speed. And then also the lapped cars that stayed on the inside and held their line, most importantly.
Yeah, everything just worked perfectly for him. It was a bit of luck, bit of skill. Job done. 4th place. There's still the Flux Racing battle. The battle for 7th, 8th and 9th is still not resolved either. Van Genekten still looking at Nisimeki for that 8th position. Commander Simsport coming around to start the final lap of the race. Will be very shortly.
Oh, they've actually already started it. Currently in turn 2.
Oh yeah, so they have.
I think we've said this multiple times so far this race, but they've done an amazing job this race. You can see their car completely clean, running consistently top 2 to top 3 best lap times each and every lap.
Yeah.
Just absolutely no mistakes here. Flawless race. Definitely deserving of a victory.
I think that's one of the drives of the season, I think, in terms of just pure domination. That is superb.
Yeah, I think they had, the battle with NX Racing Red, they were nose to tail for a while. Then NX Racing Red, they had an issue where they hit the wall that was 100% on themselves, and then they had the bad luck that followed. But I think as far as once Coanda got the lead and then that happened, they just checked out. They've been in their own little world. Very, very good drive from Klaus Kivicus and Rens Broekman for Coanda Simsport.
Yep. Heading down Conrad now. They've done everything they can, but NX Racing Red still second. A minute and 20 behind, though. But nonetheless, they have secured this championship. There's no way they can lose it now, even if they were to stop. But it's not official until they've crossed the line.
See, final lap just popped up, and this is going to be the checkered.
And heading across the finish line, it's Coanda Simsport to take victory in the Masters of Endurance 6 Hours of Bathurst. Klaus Kivicus taking that checkered flag. An absolutely fantastic win for them. Domination of the highest order. We're now waiting for NX Racing Red, but they're quite a long way behind, so we're looking at Flux Racing now. Don't worry, we're not going to miss NX Racing Red crossing the line. Flux Racing, Van Genechten battling with the Marlboro Motorsport car as they head down Conrad. But the Marlboro car has got a little bit of slipstream from Joel Guez ahead in that Vortex car, so it looks like this is resolved. What a great... They've saved their battle for the end. They've saved it for the end of the race, and it's absolutely thrilling stuff. But yeah, Van Genechten has a little look at the outside, but it's not going to happen as they head into Murray's.
Yes, and I believe also that Darren Seal and Team Kimura were able to hold on to the 10th position over Martin Solari and Hammond Ernstine.
So now heading through into Murray's corner, it's Willem Levesque for NX Racing Red. He turns in and he accelerates out the corner. And NX Racing Red are the 2014-2015 Masters of Endurance champions, finishing second in the 6 Hours of Bathurst. Richly deserved.
With no bonnet.
Congratulations. And yes, with no bonnet. That pretty much sums it up. Fantastic
Here comes
stuff.
third place.
And who'd have thought this? Glacier Racing coming through to take third position. Alexia Lomar, their first podium of the season. They really wrung the neck of that Ford GT and really impressed us with that. So congratulations to them. Core Racing ends the race fifth, just behind NX Racing Blue. Jake Sturgis there, and Nils Koch fifth for Core Racing. Core Motorsport, sorry.
Nice battle throughout the field for a lot of the cars.
Yeah, they really...
Pure Racing teams actually stopped on the top of the hill there.
That's a good place for it.
The line. Yeah, at least everyone can see them. As we just saw a nice little server blink. That's iRacing calculating the results. You see everything go a little haywire for a second.
So we're just going to wait for these cars to pull up at the line, and there we go. There's the first Commander Simsport pulling up for the photograph, I guess. We'll just take a few moments. We're going to be talking to the top three in the race and the top three in the championship, so stay tuned for that. So your final standings for this race, we'll read through the first 20 or so. Coanda Simsport takes the win by 1 minute 17 in the end. 1 minute 15, in fact, it just changed as I was looking at it. Glacier Racing took third behind Inex Racing Red, 1 minute 57 behind the leader. Inex Racing Blue were fourth. Coral Motorsports in the end got fifth after a very action-packed race. Sixth, Trinity Motorsports 3. Seventh, Vortex Sim Racing. Eighth, Marlborough Motorsport. Ninth, Flux Racing Team. And 10th, Team Chimera. Ham Endurance Team 2 ended 11th with Mad Cow Racing, who were in the top 10 for a time, in 12th. Rincon Racing managed 13th. Pure Racing Team number 3, 14th. Phoenix in 15th. 16th for Monster Energy, 17th the Team Window Lickers, 18th Trinity Motorsports 2, 19th New World Simsport, and 20th Hellenic Racing Team. And there they are, all three of the top three finishers sitting at the finish line. We'll be talking to representatives from each of these teams. So joining us first in the commentary booth for the post-race interview is Rens Brookman from Coanda Simsport. Congratulations on that win. That was almost a perfect race. Would you agree?
Yeah, thanks guys. Yeah, that went really well. Maybe even better than we could have hoped for. But first of all, congratulations to Inex Red for winning the championship.
And were you thinking about the championship in that race, or was it really just trying to win it because it was going to be very difficult to actually win the championship?
Well, it was not really up to us. We the only thing we could have done was just do the best we can, and that's what we tried.
And it was quite an interesting first in. I think it was you. There was a collision with Virgil Racing very early on. Do you recall what happened in that incident?
Yeah, I was trying to defend a little bit, hoping he would back out, but I think he just missed his braking marker and ran wide and ran into my right front corner. But
so your season overall second, you've got to be, and you the only team to win 2 races as well is pretty impressive. I guess you must be relatively happy with how the Masters of Endurance season's gone.
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely. I'm really happy to be part of Coanda Simsport as well.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations on the win.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And joining us from Inex Racing Red, the second position in the race, but ultimately the champions, it's PJ Sturgis. PJ, congratulations to you and the team on the championship win to begin with. How does that feel, really?
Well, thanks. It's pretty unbelievable. Considering we ran the last 4 hours of the race without a hood on the car, I figured we were done after that big wreck. But somehow damage wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, and we were able to hold on. So congrats to the Coanda guys. They put together a heck of a race. There's no way we were catching them even without the damage. So hats off to them for an awesome season, and congrats to really everybody in the MOE League. It's been a great five race season for its return to iRacing.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and the I guess what do you think got you the championship? Was it just consistency? Every race you managed to until the last race, you pretty much had the fewest incidents of anyone, I think.
Yeah, just consistency and preparation. We really didn't spend a whole lot of time on hot lapping practice, which kind of showed over our qualifying positions throughout the season. We really focused on long race stints and trying to make the car consistent throughout the entire fuel run. So I think that plus a little bit of luck and the consistency really is what helped pay off to get this championship. It's pretty unbelievable.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations on to Inex Racing Red for winning the 2014-2015 Masters of Endurance Championship, and thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
And next up, third place finisher for Glacier Racing. We have Alexei Eloma here. Hello, Alexei, once again, and congrats, you got the third place. And when we last spoke to you, you were in fourth, and you were thinking maybe third was possible, and you've done it. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. It was a great run in the end with Hagner run great race, and the last stint was also good, and a good fight with the Core guys, and yeah, Inex was close, but not close enough. So it was a good race. Pretty much like all season we have been good, like the almost perfect races except the Spa. So yeah, good race.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much, Alexei, and congratulations on the third place. And finally, we're also going to talk to Niels Koch, who's representing Core Motorsports, who finished fifth in the race but got third in the championship in the end. So, Niels, congratulations on the third place in the championship. It was an action-packed race, definitely, and that helped you secure that third.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, congratulations to the championship, Inex Racing. Yeah, the race was really interesting. We were really fast, I think, but I had two crashes. Two cars spun in front of me, and I collected them. There's no place to go when you have a car in front of you. Luckily, the car weren't so much damaged, only a bit of straight line speed lacking. Yeah, the race was pretty funny. Shame that I didn't fend off the NX Racing blue car. But yeah, being third in the championship is really amazing. We didn't thought about that before we got into the championship. First round we wanted to be top 20, and yeah, then everything gone its way.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations, Niels Koch, Core Motorsports, third position in the championship. And that pretty much wraps it up. Phil Diaz, I mean, is there anything you want to add before we wave goodbye to this rather excellent season?
No, not really anything at all. I want to thank IGPmanager.com for sponsoring this race and also helping us throughout the season, also with prizes for the top three in the championship and also the giveaways all season long. Also, Derek Spear Designs for the track bosses for the championship winners, and also for 3 lucky people, which we will probably announce either later today, or we might get some sleep and do it tomorrow. And then also to Grand Prix 247.com and Blue Flag Racing for sponsoring Coda, and then also 24 Hours of Spa. So thanks to those guys, and also all the drivers and teams. We probably had well over 300 different drivers. I know we had 250 drivers for 24 Hours of Spa alone, so over 300 drivers compete in the series. Over 130 teams signed up. Probably over 90 of them actually were able to pre-qualify into the races and actually race. So pretty awesome thing to have. I don't know much more to say really outside of that.
Cool, wonderful. Well, thanks to you, Phil Diaz, as well, and Michael Booth and Jonathan Palmer for making this series possible. And well, thank you everyone who watched as well. We had a great time. We had a great time commentating, and also thanks to the other commentators as well, Lewis McGlade and Oscar Hardwick, and all the guests we had on the streams at various points throughout the season. And well, that's pretty much it for me. So thank you very much, and for all of us at Masters of Endurance and me, Marco Passingham, so long.
Bye.